Does a volume?
Testing.
you not hear me? Is that better? All right. Thank you. I've called this meeting to order, acknowledge the media, and I'm looking for approval of the agendas, of this agenda. Does anybody?
I move.
I'd like to add something to the agenda.
If it is about finance, I can't.
Oh, no, I want to add a special meeting to review the 25 budget. A meeting, everybody can be there. So I don't know if you add it.
This isn't the right forum. You need to go to finance and request that.
To review the budget here? They don't put the budget together?
It's all together.
I haven't seen it. I want to review it in the CAC.
It's up there.
To clarify,
that's
you
a
want to
finance.
review just the recreation budget?
The all.
Or the entire
CAC,
budget?
The entire, yes.
The recreation budget?
Yeah, yes, the whole shebang. How, I just like to make a meeting, open meeting, whatever, schedule a meeting, and add that to the agenda.
All right, we will consult with the GM's office about that and see how to move forward, if that.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
We will consult with the GM's office to see
Okay.
about doing that, if that's a possibility.
During the meeting? Or when? Later?
After the meeting, we'll consult with the GM's office.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Wow.
And I'd like to add something to the future
Oh, okay.
agenda also. Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to let you know. Just to let you know, GRF is having a finance meeting next Wednesday. We're also working with staff to put together a meeting to review the budget. We also have version 2 coming up of the budget in July, so there'll be ample opportunities to review the budget. We also had a department review of the budget where Recreation did take part and review their budget individually. So the board does get multiple opportunities to look at it, and this is a continual process that will go on through September.
Okay.
You're
All
man on
right.
time.
I wanted to add something for future agenda.
Okay.
Review the PAC policy, poster policy, the exception that was allowed to the Chicago Club?
Didn't we do that just a couple months ago?
No, because
All right.
it was a temporary approval?
We will.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Do you got that? Okay.
One moment, please.
With those changes? Okay.
Jackie just reminded me that, yes, under the recreation policy review, we will be discussing the poster policy. It kind of ties in with the entire policy, so we will discuss it at that point.
When will that be?
We are working through it. It turns out it's a pretty complicated document, so we're hoping by early fall to,
Early fall?
yeah.
Is that when the exception is extinguishes or is over? How long was the exception for?
You're talking about Chicago Cubs
Yes.
specifically, I believe it would get them through this year's series. So they start in June, July, August, September, so it would be after that.
Okay.
We do have a mover as Director Bada. I don't have a second.
Oh, I need a second for this approval of the agenda with this. Do I have a second? Okay, thank you. Any objections? No, hearing none. The agenda is approved. The next is the approval for the meeting report on April 11th and approval for the special meeting on April 15th. Do I have a second for those? Okay, so moved. Are there any objections? No, hearing none. Those two meetings and the special meeting are approved. The chair remarks. Oh dear. Hello, everybody. Welcome. That's all I have to say. And could I have the department head updates, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Horton. Oh,
Is SK present? I I don't see him.
What do you,
On the approval, I saw SK's name as approving. Is he?
Oh.
He's not in attendance at this particular meeting, but he is replacing Director Laws for future CAC meetings.
Okay, but. Is he
At
on-
this time, I have no directors on
Yeah,
Zoom.
I think Bada is asking if it's not here, it's not online, how we can approve it. That's, I think that's what he's asking.
Are you talking about you're seeing the unanimous vote?
Yeah,
Okay, I have him in there, and I will change roll call, but we're kind of in the middle of taking a bunch of motions, so I will take care of that
Just
on the
thought
back
I'd
end. Yes,
bring it
not
to
a
your
problem.
attention.
So if you
Okay.
see that, just note that I can take care of that on the back end.
Very well, thank you.
okay. Department head updates, please.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair and Directors. If you didn't know, today is National Golf Cart Day. Didn't know about that till I was reminded earlier. As far as clubs go, we've added 6 new clubs recently: Culture and Life Club, Creative Connections Club, Korean Golf Club, Noel Clarinet Ensemble, Laguna Woods Glass Club, and the TTM, Things That Matter Square. We currently have 2 clubs on the waiting list. Every year, we have annual dues that are due on March 31st, and that deadline has passed, so it typically opens up some room till we clean up the list and invite some new clubs in. So we wanted to bring those to your attention. At Clubhouse 2, we recently had the Art Affair on June 1st. We had 40 spaces sold out, and we had around 700 people at the event. At Clubhouse 5, we've purchased a bunch of new banquet tables, so we've gotten rid of some of those dangerous, ratty ones that were cutting people and not very appealing. The Club Expo on April 30th brought in around 600 attendees with 74 clubs in attendance. We received many compliments, and the clubs appreciated sharing their information and collaborating with other clubs. And the Mother's Day Buffet had 213 attendees. At the Performing Arts Center on May 5th, we had the Surf City Singers and sold over half the seats in the theater. The ticket price for that was only $5, and it was a wonderful event that people enjoyed. We're excited to announce that projectors have been installed in the ceilings of both dining rooms. This has enhanced the visual experience and freed up more space during meetings. And on May 27th, we had a successful Memorial Day event with over 700 people in attendance and very moving speakers. At the pools, all of our pools are currently open for summer hours through September. Hours may always change, and we recommend that you look at the posted schedules before you attend the pool. Pool 6 is where children's swim is, from 12 to 4 every day through September. And the pool 6 hours are extended slightly from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. to accommodate pool 1 being closed. Pool 1 is being replastered and received new chemical storage and distribution mechanics to improve the efficiency. So that's all happening while Clubhouse 1 is closed for renovation. And at the fitness centers, attendance has been slightly rising back up. A few days, we have over 400 plus users, and we're very close to having that third day have over 400 plus users. At Equestrian, the first Saddle Club barbecue took place on June 10th with 90 attendees. We have a new horse, Paolo, 15 years old, doing great in lessons, and the new lesson session began in June with 60 riders and lesson participants per week. The round pen footing project is being revamped in-house, and fencing it was donated by VCF, and it's in the process of being installed by staff. And upcoming, we have new vaulting classes for grandchildren and equestrian fitness classes starting soon with Eclipse vaulters. At the library, volunteers worked over 800 hours to support 2,192 visitors in May. 34 residents signed up for catalog access, and 2,838 items circulated through the desk in May. This is higher than expected with the opening of the new OC Public Library and Clubhouse 1 closure, and it's the highest circulation since January. They had a recent appearance on this day, and they think that may have helped to boost it a bit. And as far as the clubhouse renovation, it's progressing smoothly, remains on schedule for completion at the end of August. And we've had some exterior and interior painting, flooring, and drywall patching done, and as well as window replacement, electrical work, renovations to the fireplace in the main lounge, bathroom upgrades, and everything is proceeding as planned. And hopefully we will have that open to the public as planned in early September. That's it for my activities, and I'd like to Jennifer Murphy to speak about upcoming events.
Thank you. So as everyone knows, this Sunday is Father's Day, so if you still haven't purchased your tickets for the brunch over at Clubhouse 5, tickets will be available through 5 p.m. today. The ticket costs are $35 for adults, children 6 to 10, $17.50, 5 and under are free. The menu consists of a marinated tri-tip, shrimp scampi, chicken marsala, bacon, scrambled eggs, spinach quiche, rice pilaf, and lots more. We are also collecting lottery tickets for 2025. Don't miss out on your chance to reserve a date for an anniversary, birthday, family reunion, holiday celebration, or a special club event. Lottery cards are available through the Recreation Office and are due this Monday, June 17th by 5 p.m. Participants will be notified by mail around September 1st on what dates and locations they received. For those who have their grandchildren visiting this summer, we do have a number of kid-friendly events coming up. Over at the Performing Arts Center, we'll be showing Disney's new Wish on Thursday, June 27th, free movie with your grandkids. Coming up at Pool 2 on July 19th and August 16th will be Splash Days. For a very low cost, your grandchild can enjoy an ice cream and use a water slide. And then our final fun day will be Grandparents Fun Day at Clubhouse 5 on Saturday, September 7th. Details to all of these events will be out approximately 4 weeks before. July 4th is around the corner and always a big celebration for our community. We will be hosting the golf cart and concert over at Clubhouse 2. Golf cart parades will head off from the Clubhouse 5 and the Clubhouse 1 back lot of the library. They will go through the neighborhoods and end up at Clubhouse 2 just before Stone Soul takes the stage at 12 noon. Both of these events are free. Food will be available through the 19 restaurants selling hot dogs, hamburgers, Italian sausage, and more, or feel free to pack your own picnic. Handel's ice cream stand will also be open and selling while supplies last. Parking will be available at Clubhouse 7 or the Community Center. The concert is free, and we encourage you to attend. If you'd like to register your golf cart, you can do so through the ActiveNet registration online, or you can pop into the Recreation Office and they can assist you in registering. Coming up on Monday, July 22nd, we'll be hosting a barbecue buffet at Clubhouse 5 p.m. Tickets are $29 and will go on sale June 27th through the Clubhouse 5 office. The menu will feature baby back ribs, oven fried chicken, baked beans, corn on the cobs, coleslaw, potato salad, fruit salad, cornbread muffins, rolls butter, and apple pie with whipped cream for dessert. The Performing Arts Center will be featuring Space Oddity, the ultimate David Bowie experience on Saturday, August 10th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are available for either $20, $25, or $30 through the box office or online at tickets.lagunawoodsvillage.com. And mark your calendar, tickets will go on sale July 8th for Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees. He'll be featured Friday, October 11th at the Performing Arts Center at 7:30 p.m. You may remember hits of Last Train to Clarksville, I'm a Believer, and Pleasant Valley Sunday, just to name a few. This particular group had dozens of top 20 singles and 4 #1 albums along with 2 Emmys. Tickets will be available through the box office, again on July 8th. For $30, $35, and $40. Thank you.
And Tom McRae has a brief update on golf operations in the garden centers.
Okay, I'll be brief. Summer conditions at the golf course, we're ramping up for some warm weather. I've heard that that's going to happen at some point in the future, but we're still dealing with June gloom, so things are kind of slow right now. There's not a whole lot of maintenance that we need to do until we get into the heat. Just so to remind everybody that when it does get warm, the green surfaces, which are Poa grass, don't like the heat a whole lot, so there's a lot of different things that we have to do. The greens will get a little bit slower than they are in the winter and the rest of the year, because if we try to cut them down too close during the heat, the Poa doesn't like that, and we had some trouble with almost killing some of the greens a few years back. So we're going to be very careful, and we're working hard to prepare for that. The driving range project is, you can start to see it greening up as the warm weather starts to come. The Bermuda is starting to fill in. So far, the driving range project is doing what it's supposed to do. The equipment isn't getting torn up. The balls are staying where they're supposed to stay, and it looks really nice. And so we couldn't be happier with that. Staff, we are producing now what we call a golf course orientation. Gail and Martin Ford from my coordinators and myself are working on a PowerPoint deck that's going to be combined with some online training for new people as they approach into the community to integrate into the golf system. It's not as easy as you would think. We want to make sure people are doing the right thing. They know the rules. They know how to do it so they can get access to the golf course. We're also thinking about using it for people that are doing things wrong, that are consistently doing things wrong with the system, that are trying to circumvent certain rules and regulations with the system, using it as a retraining. We want to call it detention, but I'm not sure we'd get away with that, even though that's what it probably needs to be. Just to make sure that people are aware why things are and what we're trying to do. It's just equitable access to the tee times for everybody. That's all we're trying to do. And that's what this system is there to train, so even the new people can get access. We're still doing a lot of great club fitting events. They've been great success. We've got Titleists at the driving range right now fitting wedges, and they've been busy all day. I don't know how many sales they've done, but Zexio was out last week, and I think we did about $12,000 in retail sales from that one event. It's pretty amazing. The stuff's really expensive, so it wasn't like it was a lot of clubs, but it was just very expensive clubs. People aren't opposed to spending money, so it's going well. Over at the Garden Center, I don't recall if we talked about it here at the CAC meeting. We do have a contractor in place now, taking the place of staff that left us a couple months ago, and so far that's working great. He's been going full time, and he works for the same contractor that helps with landscaping and some of that subcontracting work that they have to do since they're a little bit short-staffed. So far, Luis is the guy there, for those of you that had garden plots, and he's been very active. So far, the feedback has been great, very responsive, and we hope to continue that and continue to develop how efficient we can make that be. Compliance at the Garden Center has been extremely effective. We've had some plots that have slipped into disrepair, and we've been able to get word to those people, and those that didn't respond have been sent compliance letters, and those compliance letters have actually produced some great results. And we've had some of those plots that were really struggling. People did get back to it, or they released the plot altogether, and we rented it to somebody else who was going to take care of it. So things are going very smooth at the Garden Center, and that's all I really have to report, unless somebody has any questions.
I do. Do you know how many people are on the waiting list for garden plots and tree plots?
There's probably about 240 total. And it's a little skewed because back in, a lot of the people are waiting for the perfect plot. So we keep calling them because we have to, because they're the first on the list. And if they say no, we move to the next person. So if you look at that waiting list, a lot of the people that are up on top have been offered plots, but they've chosen to wait for that perfectly fenced, perfectly prepared plot that somebody might be giving up.
Yeah.
Where others look at it, and they look at it the right way, a lot of them look at it as it's a fun project. If the thing is in disrepair, they say, oh, wow, great, I can't wait to get my teeth into this.
Yeah.
Let's get it going, and it's been
And tree
great.
plots?
That I was including that
Okay.
total. There's a combination of that. And currently we have nothing of it. We have two available.
2 tree plots available?
2 tree plots available that are a little shaky, so not a lot of people have wanted them yet, but we keep showing them.
Okay. Okay. The only reason I brought it up is that I had somebody call me, and she says she's been on the list a long time, and she wanted her tree plot. So
Yeah.
I'll let her know that you've got 2.
And a lot of people are on the list, and a lot of them have been on for a long time.
And she was very adamant about she'd been on the list for a long time. But so had I.
And so had everybody else that's on the waiting list. Yeah, there's people that have been on there for 3-4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not a lot of turnover.
Yeah, no, yeah, how can I
I
help?
have I wanted to ask about the garden center. We have staff there, correct?
We have one staff person there.
One staff all day, or is that part-time?
It's Tuesday through Saturday, 7 to 4, essentially.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, and so, does anybody have any more questions? Or the next item on our agenda is member comments. At this time, members only may address the committee regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this committee. The committee reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for members' comments to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum, and each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Each speaker may not give their time to other people, no audio or video recordings and by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. And do we have any speakers?
Georgiana Willis.
Oh. Hello, Georgianne.
Oh, hi. Yes, I was just wondering about the oversight for the liability insurance for the horses that are boarded or boarding here. Is there the liability insurance? Is that regularly updated and make sure that everything's covered? It is? Oh, okay. Okay, and okay, and what is the cost to board a horse for a member versus a non-member per month?
We're going to look up those exact costs right now. We also do have,
Laura's right sitting in the back.
Huh?
Laura, the supervisor for the equestrian center, did you want to come up and answer this question? Sure. I don't
Well, I
have the
thought,
figures in front of me.
I have it here. Thank you, Laura. So a resident-owned horse is $265 per month, and a guest-owned horse is $325 per month.
okay, and I guess the other thing I was wondering, we bought a horse recently, I think it's a 17-year-old horse. What did we pay for that?
Laura, this one I'll call you up for.
I could actually address some of these during my presentation in a few minutes. We had two horses this year. One was $1,000 and one was $10,000. Depending on the value of the horse, we spend different amounts on those things. But I'll go over that in my presentation.
we have a few staff presentations today. Laura's one of them that's going to give basic information about the equestrian center. It might answer some more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Ed Frazier.
Good afternoon. I have a request to make. I filled out the request form and submitted it in writing. So at this time, I'll just read my request form verbatim.
If I may interrupt, Mr. Frazier, we are actually going to be discussing that under number 12, Recreation Committee request forms.
Okay.
So.
I should wait till then?
Yes, let's go ahead and call you back up during that.
Okay, fine.
There you go.
All right.
Just saved you a moment.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Stuart Hack.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of the Reformed Temple of Laguna Woods to talk with you about the proposed change in the use of the Clubhouse 1 art room. So I am just guessing that before this proposal was made to turn that room over to a billiard room, that no one looked at how that room is currently being used, how many clubs are using it, and that it's a rollover room, and that no one contacted us and asked us how we even felt about that. So the Reformed Temple uses it 52 weeks a year. Friday night services. This has been going on since we've been a temple here for many, many years. And we use 3 rooms. We use the lounge and the room that you want to convert, the art room you want to convert to the billiard room, and then we use the main room. We have generally 100 or more of our members attending services on Friday nights, and they come to what we call an onig at the end of the service, which is we have enough people that we need both a dining room and a room for people to sit at tables. A kitchen, I meant to say, and a room for people to sit at tables. We pay right now $7,200 a year for this, and our rates are going up by about 30%. 30%. So we'll be paying about $9,300 a year. I'm going to guess that the people using the billiard room don't pay anything. So I'm wondering, because of the economics of it, and because we've been contracted to use it, and then lastly, because there is no other place for us. Recreation has no other place to put us. Right now, we are temporarily using Clubhouse 3 while Clubhouse 1 is being renovated. It is totally insufficient. We don't have enough room for all of our members to come to services on Friday nights. We don't have room for our equipment. Right now, we're temporarily storing our equipment while we're waiting for Clubhouse 1 to be ready for us to move back in it. So I respectfully ask you to reconsider. If I'd heard a rumor that this is a done deal, and I'd like to know whether that's true, and if so, then what other actions we must take, because this is not acceptable.
Thank you, Mr. Hack. The time has expired. Rabbi Joe Mendelson.
Thank you. My comments are also addressing the proposed billiards room and using the art room in Clubhouse 1. This is not a frivolous thing to us. You may not realize it, but what is known as a collation in many religions, we call Oneg Shabbat, is actually an integral part of the service. A synagogue is known as a house of gathering. That's the translation. Prayer is part of it, but the fact that the people are getting together each week is a necessary part not only of our culture, but this is one of the values that Laguna Woods has, that we provide venues for people with like interests to come together and enjoy each other's company. So this is both religious and practical, and a value of Laguna Woods that is being taken away if we don't have an alternative space. If this group can offer us an alternative space, we have no objection, but no one came to us saying, we can take care of this. We were just told that the room is being taken away from us. This does not sound like a good due process program here. I mean, we deserve the chance to be considered, and as far as my understanding is, we're not being considered. So this is basically it. It's an integral part of our religious services, something that we've been doing for years since we came to Clubhouse 1, and all of a sudden, our religion is being ignored or expected to change how it functions when we really can't do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Joey Sims.
Hi there. I just wanted to ask you, is there an official form for a resident to complete to repeal a decision made by a committee? Is there? How do I find out about? Where do you get it? You get it from recreation. And I try to watch most of the GRF meetings, but I missed some about the 28 days. I feel like decisions are made and not made public, other than if you watch the meeting or go to the meeting, like the 28 days in the gym with the news. None of us who go there heard about it. How do I get to hear about the 28 days without missing a GRF meeting? Okay, I go away. I'm supposed to go away now, right? Okay, I'll go away.
That concludes our member comments at this time.
You know me.
Right there. And your name?
I came late. I'm here on behalf of the Reformed Temple of Laguna Woods. I'm the one who's been running around between Recreation and Clubhouse One staff trying to find an alternative. Recreation is not authorized to change rollovers in clubhouses 2, 5, and 7. They can find room for us, but they need authorization from this committee to move the rollovers. That's all I have to say.
That concludes our speakers for member comments.
You have something to say?
Yeah, I just, at the beginning, when Allison made a presentation, it was good news that the number of clubs are increasing in our community. That's good news. At the same time, there is a worrying sign that every club that comes in, they want space and they want, amenities to perform, as we heard from Stuart and the rest of the gentleman and the lady, that we are becoming a little bit short of a space for available to our members. So it's a little bit planning need to be done, because our number of clubs are increasing, but our facility is fixed. We don't have any other facilities. And now people have to compete, the members and the clubs have to compete for the space that is available. And following that, I don't know when Clubhouse One, after in October, are we taking reservation for that, or that's going to be to the end of the year, is going to be closed when we're going to take the reservation for Clubhouse One, because that had been closed for 6 months, and now it's going to be opened up and we're going to have a space. So the space is going to be an issue. We really need to look at that as we go forward. As the number of clubs and activity increases, we need more space.
Well,
thank you.
And quite frankly, that's one of the reasons that we moved billiards into the old art room. And essentially, we gained 2 more rentable spaces for the new clubs and other people that are trying to get their clubs off the ground. I am truly sorry that you're so affected. I know that Recreation is going to work on getting a space for you. What?
Sure, I just wanted to provide some of our policies and whatnot too. So first off, we do have a 250 cap on clubs. As you meant, we just heard Allison noted that there were some clubs that disbanded, which allowed us to pull clubs off. So we do keep 250 clubs. That is the max, and GRF did make that policy to kind of keep the clubs from taking over, because we understand that we're kind of at a max right now, and the more clubs we have, just exactly what you said, right, they need more space. So because we don't have more space, that 250 club cap was created. Number 2, our rollover policy does state that clubs are only allowed to have 104 dates per year. This particular group has 156. So they do go over that cap, and they have been for as long as they probably have existed. With the loss of the art room, which is being converted to a billiard room, the billiard room on the Clubhouse 1 property is being converted to a reservable space. That room will be offered to them. They have expressed that that doesn't work for them, but they are essentially being offered a room in its place.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. You don't get to do that. Wait a minute, hold on.
So again, this particular club books over the allowed amount of dates that we allow all the other clubs. So instead of 104, they're being given 156 a year. If you think the 3 rooms every single Friday night, on top of what else goes on throughout the year. But as I mentioned, yes, the room does not work for the way that they run their program. They have expressed that to us, but they were being given an alternative space.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
And
Did you
follow
want-
up, then how many
Madam?
clubs are waiting? What's the waiting list on the clubs, please?
Oh.
2.
Just 2? So we are not that many, but at the same time, we're saying that we are squeezed for the space. So I think we need, I suggest to the chair that we probably need to look at the space and, the needs of the community and see if there a way that we can manage this going forward so people can have what they need in order to have their activities. So
And-
that's a suggestion, Madam Chair.
Well,
yours.
for a long time, I've been getting a lot of flack from the musicians wanting a space. So
And
I
that,
just,
yes, and as you were, by the merging of those 2
That's
billiard
right.
rooms into
We're
one,
putting-
we're
we're getting
opening
all
up
the
for
artists.
another room at the PAC. So we are actually gaining 1 reservable room by doing this.
that's right.
Thank you.
And we are getting the musicians and the talented people in the old pros and alike a place to practice. We're getting them all over at the PAC, or Clubhouse 3, and that was the goal. Yes, Ellen?
Okay, so we've given them an alternative for Clubhouse 3, 1 room, is that correct?
The Reform Temple specifically, the alternative is the billiard room that currently existed, which is being converted to a multi-purpose room. The one that is adjacent to the locker rooms in the pool area, that will be a reservable space, and that space is being offered to all the groups that met in the art room.
Okay, and the reform group will have 156 reservations for the year?
Rollovers, so that doesn't
Rollovers?
include any lottery cards or any walk-in reservations that they do.
How long is their time there?
I would have.
Like 1 hour, 2 hours?
No, I'll find that out for you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Can I recognize Kush?
Yeah, thank you. Is that substitute room that you offered the Reform Temple, is that big enough for them?
It doesn't have a kitchen.
1/3 the size.
So they do have access right now to the main lounge and the patio and the MPR and the dining room 3 areas. So the other room, it's not, as I understand it, it's not in the flow of what their event is. It's off to the side, and that's what the issue is. But the space is approximately, give or take, it's close to the same. It just doesn't have a kitchenette, but they do have access to a kitchen in the main lounge.
Got it.
And in dining room 3.
How about Rabbi Mendelssohn's? I'm certain that these are 2 separate organizations, correct?
No, it's one.
Or the same? Okay, sorry for my lack of knowledge, but yeah, it's better to ask and get confirmed. Okay, so that's great. Then you're all getting taken care of. But we are working on it.
Excuse me. Because that's not so. We don't have a kitchen. You're going to send us all around dark areas with people in walkers, and from
overhang when it rains.
If I may interrupt, we can't have outbursts from the audience, please. This is a business meeting. Thank you.
Can I please respond?
All I'm saying is that when we planned this, it was, and it's done. If you want to talk, you have to fill out a little blue card. And I thought that we were getting another rentable space and satisfying part of the other community, the rest of the community. And I do not want to go back and forth with this over and over. Oh, it's a green card. Sorry. As for the TVs in the gym, okay? The reason that we changed those is because people were arguing and taking up staff time. We can't have people fighting over Fox and CNN and CNBC. That's why we changed the stations to kind of non-committal, non-argumentative stations. Okay, and it did go on 28 days. It was printed in the newspaper. It was everywhere. It was. Okay, and I suggest that for those that find some of the things that we do a surprise, that we really should keep ourselves informed in what's going on in the community. There are no secrets. Stuff is plastered on everywhere we go. There's an isinglass thing right on the front of the building that has the agendas up for every meeting, if you're so inclined. You can go on What's Up in the Village. The last paragraph on that What's Up in the Village tells you, gives you an agenda and what the things are going to be discussed at the meetings that are going to be held during the following week. I can't think of who else. Push if you
Also,
have something else.
if you are so inclined to follow this, if you go to the lagunawoodsvillage.com website and click on the calendar, you go to the CAC meeting, and over there the agenda is available to view, or you may print it. So it's available there too. And you can check that quite a few days in advance. Or you can go back and see the... Pardon?
A point of information. Was this merger of the 2 billion rooms on an agenda, a previous agenda?
I can't affirm that for sure, but I know it went through our committee and it was done more than two committee meetings back.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was CAC and GRF board.
Yes.
We do have,
Based upon the number of people that this is impacting, wouldn't it behoove you to contact the clubs that were going to be impacted? There's not that many clubs that were going to be impacted by this. And then, I mean, rather than assuming they're going to read it off the website.
No.
we,
That's not what I said.
we do have 2 speakers when we're ready, 2 formal speakers when we're ready.
I know. I just don't want this to get way out of hand. All of this stuff was posted, just like the TV changes that was posted. The people that use the gym are asking the same thing as you're asking, why didn't we know? When we put all that information out there. I can't go to individual clubs or churches or synagogues and deliver this information personally. I'm sorry. Anyway.
And one more, how did you find out about this change?
Now you're asking.
Just-
My friend told me there was a small article in the Globe. It was
Okay.
about this much in the bottom. She happens to read the Globe all the way.
Okay.
And she told me, and I looked it up, and I went, OMG. Read it over to Recreation and said, is this true? And William said, yes. And he said, what
Did we not consider their reservation, their rollover? Or was it an oversight?
No, we considered all the reservations in there, and that's one of the reasons we moved forward with it. This particular group does have use of many of the rooms every Friday. And again, this room that we are offering as a replacement room does not meet their needs because it doesn't mix with the flow of what they do. But they still have space. I mean, at some point, yes, we would like to accommodate everybody, but there's only so much room that the clubhouse is going to be able to accommodate in the long run. So if the group continues to grow, then they would have outgrown that space anyway. So, it's tough because it's changed and it's changing the dynamic of it, but there is additional space that is being offered to them. They're not being displaced in any way. They have use of the main large room. They have rooms in that area. They have the courtroom. Yes, when it rains, it might be an issue. When I go to my church and it rains, it's an issue if there's overflow seating. I mean, it's something that you have to work through as it comes. And so that was considered with all of the reservations that are in there and if we were able to move them to other locations.
I just didn't recall it when we were voting on the billiard room. I don't recall that there was any mention of it, but I would have assumed that you would have sent a letter or something? No?
Diagrams, we had everything.
Yeah.
This is not, excuse me, this is not a bad report. I'm sorry. No, we post it, we don't send stuff out to people. Do you want me, I mean,
I think,
I'm just
I suggest rather than keep going back and forth, it's very clear that they feel that they didn't get a like-for-like replacement. That's very simple.
Okay.
So I suggest that, the recreation get with the, with the Reform Temple and discuss their need and see how we're going to be able to accommodate that need as we go forward, rather than trying to resolve it here, which is going to be 200 different opinions.
Yeah, well,
Let's
can't.
just get the recreation with them and see their needs and how we're going to be able to provide their, services with the need that they have. So the complaints is simple. We didn't get like for likes. We are short space. We don't have this. Let's see how we're going to be able to, if we can, to resolve the issue rather than try to resolve it here.
okay. Well,
That's
then,
what I suggest.
Then,
I like
guess-
that suggestion.
pardon?
I like the suggestion.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess the ball is in your court again. They're going to come.
Yes, and to answer Director Leonard's question, so they do have every Friday from 6 to 10 p.m., and it consisted of the main lounge, the art room, and dining room 3.
But the main lounge should be enough if there are only 150 people.
This isn't.
Yeah, it's not for us to resolve it. It's
Would you
It's
like,
Please.
would you like for me to call the speakers, the formal speakers we have?
Pardon?
Would you like for me to call the formal speakers?
Oh, is it on another subject?
No, we have 2 more.
Oh, okay.
Eileen Garbett.
All right, thank you.
I am going to be the incoming president of the temple, and I just feel so dismayed that you would make this decision to oust us from a room that we've been using for over 25 years without either contacting us or seeing if the replacement is acceptable. And frankly, it's not a replacement because it doesn't have the same facilities. I'm really disappointed.
Thank you.
Naomi Bernstein.
There is a simple solution.
in the microphone, please.
There is a simple solution. We get Clubhouse 2, the what's it?
The main room?
FDIC moves to Clubhouse 5. They'll be in heaven. Clubhouse 5 does not have Friday nights every Friday. FDIC Friday nights, they do. They need the band. They need the room. Clubhouse 2 is perfect for us. It's one room. It fits everything. The rollovers from Clubhouse 5 are generally Friday nights. It's not even every Friday night. They do have once a month. Clubhouse 1 is large enough. That's all. Recreation knows how to do it. They can't change a rollover unless you authorize it. That's all I'm asking for.
Thank you.
Let's look into it and allow the recreation to.
We'll definitely look into it, but also, to be clear, we will also be looking into the policy and what we've been allowing, because it may also impact how much space the group is using. So now that it has been brought forward, we need to look at that and be consistent with all groups and make sure we are following through with our policy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can we move on? Okay. Is there any other speakers on any other subjects? Oh, Elsie, what can I do for you?
This is a quickie, Madam Chair.
Microphone.
It's on. You can't hear me?
Wait, no, there you go.
I have such a delicate little voice. May I address Allison directly?
Yes. If she wants to answer.
Since you're going to be digging into this stuff, it sounds like, perhaps I would like to see, and I'm just an advisor, some kind of a comparison between amongst other religious groups and the reform group, just to get an idea of equity in a classification of groups. And I'm really sorry y'all are going through all this on the one hand. On the other hand, I know how hard our people work to be equitable to everybody. So that's my only comment, just a suggestion.
Okay. Thank you. Any more comments? All right, then the next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by the committee by one motion. In the event an item is removed from the consent calendar by a member of the committee, such item or items shall be subject to further discussion and action by the committee. And generally, we put it on the future agenda. So do I have a motion to accept the finance and the recreation dashboard?
I move.
I move. You get a second? Nope. Okay. Okay, second. Here, are any objections? There you go.
I want to review the financial statement.
All right,
I don't want
right
to go.
now?
Yeah.
Where's our, come on up.
Please welcome to the stage Jose Campos.
This is Jose, our finance guru.
Hello. So what we do is we put together the financial statements for you. We organize them in a manner to let us know how much is admin, how much is aquatics and bar services, clubhouses, etc. We also list favorable and unfavorable variances down at the bottom of the sheet. I'm certainly happy to read them to you, but are there any specific questions that we may have?
I want to know if the $19,000 sponsorship is included in the revenue?
It is. It's included under miscellaneous.
The 29, which one? Which miscellaneous?
Line item number 7, it's housed under the admin.
Okay. So the miscellaneous for clubhouses or for just, because it's broken down into columns?
I don't know, what 19,000 are you talking about?
There was a $19,000 sponsorship for the health and wellness.
That would be under admin. But just so you know, total sponsorships for the year are 46,000.
So 46,000 for the year?
Yeah.
Okay. And you want me to ask the questions, or you want him to, okay, equestrian center?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. The equestrian center, materials and supplies? What was that? Is that?
Hey Laura, do you think you could step to the mic to break down your materials and supplies? Because it includes horses and a lot of, not what you think, but the clubhouses.
Materials and supplies?
I don't have glasses. Can I borrow glasses?
Oh, okay.
But do you have the line items broken down here somewhere for equestrian? Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to specifically break it down while I'm sitting here with the final number for all materials and supplies. That includes everything on the facility that we purchase and also includes hay and feed. When you look at hay in the market today, you're looking at about $31 a bale. A bale only has about what's called 15 flakes in it, so horses go through quite a bit of hay throughout the year. The residents, and I will go through this in my presentation, who board pay board, which is the base rate we mentioned earlier, but they also pay feed costs for their horses. So when you're seeing our spend, you're not also seeing what is recouped by the residents who board and paid back to us for the feed. So when you look at this round number, it doesn't really tell the whole story. We're also talking about sand, gravel, supplies to maintain the facility, and so forth. So if you want to do a deeper dive into equestrian, we should bring the equestrian budget and look through the line items.
Okay, I'd like that. Okay, the materials and supplies and then the total revenue, it looks a little upside down.
The total revenue
Is 71?
upside down. Well, traditionally, equestrian is subsidized by the HOA. The cost that each manor puts into equestrian is exactly $395 a month. That's less than a cup of Starbucks. So that is how we have figured out I believe it's a 70% subsidy. So there is a lot of opportunity to have fees be closer to market, especially with lessons, than also with boarding. So there's major opportunities to make us solvent.
Okay.
Yep.
So I can have a horse there and it's 70% the community has to pay, sponsor it.
I did not decide that that existed before I came in.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation for the boards and how they decided to split it.
Okay. Okay. All right. I won't go through equestrian anymore. I wanted to talk about community events, Jose.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one that's 40%.
Yeah.
I'm 464,000.
I'm sorry, where are you?
The
where do you-
year-to-date actual, 464,000. For community, or is that utilities?
That's utilities.
Utilities.
464,000.
Okay. Yeah. That electricity, and is that for everything?
Yes. It's going to be electricity primarily,
Okay.
as well as water, and a little bit of gas for your pools, natural gas.
And a little bit of what?
Natural gas for your
Oh.
pools.
Okay. Okay, what about the 95,000 for community events? So
She's looking at
under
your
PAC,
financial
the
service.
PAC, we're not making, and the PAC is 95,000.
Correct. So the way that accounting makes you do it is they make you recognize your revenues and also make you recognize your expenses. So when you lease out the PAC, we also take in tickets, we sell tickets, right? The difference on that is we pay it back to the residents or whoever leased it, if you will. You take your fee for actually leasing out the Performing Arts Center, and as well as ticket, printing, as well as piano tuning, and all those different expenses associated with it, and you take the difference and you return it back to whoever leased it, and we recognize that as an expense. That's why that appears so high. That's not anything that comes out. You'll see the offset to that on the top, and that's going to be rentals. So $260,000 is what you took in from the Performing Arts Center in the form of rentals. 95,000 are the tickets that you paid back.
Either I'm crazy or it looks like to me like our year-to-date actual and our year-to-date budget, they're over budget? What should the budget be? I see excess of revenue and 2,238,000 for the year-to-date actual and 2,220,244 for the year-to-date budget.
I don't see any 2
Lost
million
on the
here.
bottom, the excess of revenue
Oh,
over expenses.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that comes in again from primarily it's going to be from this clubhouse rentals and fees. It's going to be primarily in the Performing Arts Center. You can see that line alone. We had a total budget of $227,000. That's what we thought we were going to take in for the Performing Arts Center. Happy to say that through April, you've already exceeded that, $367,000. So again, this is it's really a pass-through. You're taking in more money for any Performing Arts Center rentals that you've given, and you're then turning around and paying that back out to whoever it is that leased it. So yes, you're running more revenue. You're also running slightly more expense. So altogether, we're basically right on budget. Variance of $6,000.
Yeah. It looks like to me like we're not, but we're in the hole though, right? Are we?
The column that you probably want to focus on is going to be that variance column, which is that second to last. And altogether, bottom line for this $2.4 million budget, we have a difference of $4,000. You can see that doesn't even add up to a single %. So we're right on budget.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions about the budget?
I
Okay.
do. It's Sue Kwong. I raised my hand.
I can't hear Sue.
Oh, you can't hear. Okay, let me see if I can get this up a little higher. Okay, let's see if we can. I don't understand how people use the rental of the Performing Arts Center. Do we get the money for the sales of the tickets? Do we split that cost? Or just how does that work?
We get 10 cents for every ticket that is sold, but otherwise, we're getting rental fees and anything related to staffing the facility. So technician fees, we get fees from that as well.
What did you say we get?
We get 10 cents per ticket that is sold at the box office. And the rental fee.
Isn't that quite low? I mean, the tickets are 30,
Yes.
35, 40. Shouldn't we be looking at raising that 10 cents?
Yes, we are looking at that for the 2025 budget.
And what are
We are looking at new ticket registrations or ticket sales software. And with that, we can control those fees a little bit better and bring them up to cover the actual cost of what we're providing.
Well, I certainly hope it's far more than that. Will this be included in this year's budget, and how will we, or in the 2025 budget, and how will we know what that is?
Well, we have to pick the right software that's going to work for the box office first. And with that, then we can determine, we can look at the cost of the supplies. We're not looking to make money. We're simply looking to recover our costs. So we would look at what the cost of the supplies are, and we would just make sure we're covering all of our fees, and we would charge that amount back to the tickets.
Okay. Do we also charge them for, like, I don't know how it works. Are there volunteers who are running the box office and running, the people who help people get seated?
There are two separate. We have volunteers that are ushers. We are not receiving any money for those. They volunteer their time out of the goodness of their hearts. As far as the people working the box office, those are paid employees. We have 2 part-time employees that we pay to work the box office Monday through Friday. Part-timers.
Okay. All right. When you're looking at the budget as well, we had different groups come in and say that they wanted to advertise as well. And I think we discussed how that would need to have technology and staffing. Is that something that we could include in the cost, in the increase of from the 10 cents to maybe $10 or whatever to cover that cost so we don't incur it if we choose to go forward with something like that?
So overall, we need to look at the policy first, what we've been allowing and what we want to allow, and that may or may not change based on the committee and board input. But as far as new technology, there is currently nothing budgeted for that. We would have to invest probably from a capital standpoint, and there's currently nothing in the 2025 budget to support that. But those are certainly, if the committee feels we need to move forward with that, we can start discussing it for future budgeting.
Well, I would like us to look at it, not and have it come out of the cost of these performances, but that's a personal opinion. I don't know if the rest of the committee would like that. Thank you for the responses.
You're welcome.
It sounds like a revenue making, so.
I beg your pardon?
It sounds like revenue, if the cost of the tickets, raising the cost to prepare a ticket, sounds like it's a revenue making, so we could make some money to help for the losses. Yeah.
And again, we're not really set up to make money on this venture. We're looking at recovering our costs, so I don't know that it would be a huge cost generating activity, but we'll certainly look at least bringing it back to where we're covering those costs and it's not being dumped back on.
Are we paying
regular
time and a
costs.
half for people to work at the PAC?
No, I mean, there are some overtime.
Well, that was talked about 2 meetings ago. So.
There are some opportunities where there is overtime, but for the most part, everyone is working within their scheduled hours, and we do our best unless there's an emergency. If we have a technician that needs to work an emergency show to cover a service, then we will do that.
Okay. Do we have any more questions for Jose? Okay, Dennis.
This document that we produce every month, does it include the shared cost money as well?
It does. We call them allocated expenses. So you're talking about things like your cost of HR and your cost from IT. Yes.
I'm talking about the individual homeowners pay a per man or per month fee to support all of the items in this community. As an example, somebody said the number for equestrian was $3.95. Well, somebody said, well, that's only $3.95. Well, that's $600,000 a year is what that is. Does it appear on this report?
It does.
Just as the golf club as well? Does that appear in here too?
It does, and let me show you where that is, if I could. That year-to-date actual, your current plan right now, your plan is that meaning expenses outweigh or are planned to be greater than revenues to the tune of $2,244,000. That's the plan. That's the planned cost. Recreation is planned to cost you for the first 4 months of the year $2,244,000. Currently, it's costing you $2,238,000, so you're running slightly better than you expected by about $6,000. But to answer your question, the cost is right there, that $2,444,000 number.
And where does that show in the document here? Where does it say shared cost?
It doesn't say shared cost. It says excess revenues or expenses. Their negative number. That's the total cost.
What number is that? What line?
21.
Oh, excess. Oh, so you show it down there at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Is there
Thank you.
anything, any other questions? Thank you, Jose.
May I have a show of hands on the motion for the consent calendar?
Oh, I vote, yeah. Okay, we all vote okay. Okay. This is turning into a long meeting. The next item on the agenda is some reports from our clubhouse supervisors. And first, I'd like to call up Laura, and I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, the supervisor for the Equestrian Center, and give us her report on our Equestrian Center.
Yes.
The first amenity.
Yes. Thank you, directors. I appreciate your time having me here. I was invited to sort of give a quick overview of what we do, where we have come and where we're going. I was asked to start a little bit with my background. I came on in 2020 during the COVID shutdown. I was hired out of Washington State. I'm a California native. I rode horses and grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and also have worked running equestrian centers in both California and Washington State. My early career, though I have ridden and competed horses for over 45 years, was in corporate marketing and events. I had over a decade at larger companies like Microsoft, running a marketing program and with large-scale events. So that's been extremely helpful here, where we're serving the community as well as running an equestrian center business and caring for horses. So uniquely, my skills have been very helpful to raising the standards of the equestrian center for the community, and I'm thankful to be here and very proud of what we've been able to do over time. When I first came on board, there was much trouble with the equestrian center, and there was an ad hoc committee set up to oversee equestrian, which actually gave me an opportunity to work with the directors that were involved, and also have representatives from the Boarders Group and the Saddle Club. And we were able to make sure that our vision and goals were aligned with the Equestrian Center. Because I have so much experience running training, boarding, and lesson facilities, as well as working as a director at a large therapeutic riding facility, which lends itself well to working with seniors with horses. I could really go in many different directions when I came on board, but I wanted to understand the vision that we had with management and everyone who was involved. And the primary goal was to see a full barn with good care of horses. Now, that had been a challenge for some time. There were 8 empty stalls when I came, and there were a lot of horses that were not in good shape. Lesson horses and boarded horses were showing neurotic behaviors. The care standards were not very high, and the facility had not been invested in a very, very long time. So we had a big job to do together to improve our standards, and I can proudly say that we are now one of the nicest barns in the area. A big challenge was that we have a lot of residents that own horses and a lot of residents that would not board at our center because of the standard of care in the facility. This is no longer the case. We set about working simultaneously on both the horse care, which needed to be upgraded and staff trained and realigned, and that's more easily done and most important, because our duty ethically, morally, to the care of horses, being the proper care, has to be number one. So we did that, and I can proudly say we have no horses showing neurotic behaviors on our facility anymore. Our horses look excellent. For those of you who have spent time there, you can see the output and what you see in our lovely horses, both young and old, ranging from age 3 to age 35. We are in a very good place there, with now a very good reputation in the wider equestrian community. As far as the facility was concerned, I've heard a lot of talk about when we upgrade the facility that it is costing the community, but to be very clear about that, we approached it differently than just seeking funds out of our budget. We did not just do that. We did reassign a capital for some grass to redo our arena footing, which had become rocks and dirt, which is quite dangerous for horses and riders. And that was a wonderful investment. We asked for no additional funds, and our grass is beautiful. So it all worked out in the wash. We needed shelters for the horses. They were out in the elements. We sought help and a closer relationship with Village Community Fund, which I'm sure all of you know, but I don't know the wider community if they know, is a foundation within the village that takes on resident-led campaigns to fundraise for things that we need at our facilities. And they were happy to help us, and we had active residents who were very excited to be involved and lead an effort to raise money for the shelters, also now raise money for our new round pen. They also raised money for additional vet fees in the early days before we had that budgeted in properly. We've done a lot of work together with them. Saddle Club, Old Pros, both have raised money. Also, the Art Association have raised money to give to Village Community Fund for us through many different means within the community that then branched out and created, big concerts, art auctions, all sorts of exciting activities that people like to participate in. So now I can say that we are in a much better place. It's brought a lot of goodwill to the Equestrian Center and the community. We've had a lot of articles in the Register that were very positive, and I'm very excited to break down what our business is, because truly it is a business within the community. Much like golf, it's different than other elements of recreation. We have boarding as part of our business. That's one arm. So we have a lot of residents that own horses that went to board there. I know there's been a lot of talk about having non-residents use our facility. That's very controversial, but I want to be really clear to everyone listening and put on the record that these are not random people who come in off the street allowed to board, unlike Nellygill and Codo, which both allow that, which are our neighboring HOAs. Ours require a resident to sponsor a person that boards there. They're a family member or close friend. They give up their spot that they pay for this person to board there. It's usually a daughter, a grandchild, a best friend. Right now we have 3 non-residents. All the rest of our boarders, 28 boarders total, are residents. And every resident that has a horse there has to actively participate with their horses. They can't just feed them off to any person to ride or care for. So again, there are no outside people coming in and boarding stalls with us. There are no outside people just coming in and taking lessons. These are all people who are sponsored. Liability is assumed by the resident as well, and they give up their spot that they're allotted for their person and their family. So that is boarding. We talked about the fees. I wasn't thinking we were going to dig that deep, but we pay $265 base rate for residents, $325 for non-residents as the base rate. That's their stall, 3 bags of bedding, and then their feed and the cleaning, and then their feed is additional. For the boarders, which we did not have before since I've gotten here and analyzed the business, there was no support. So there was a lot of questionable care and infighting because there was no support from staff. So as an additional source of revenue and to help to support the boarders, we created the Care Services Program. The Care Services Program allows us to assist people in caring for their horses, and it's our only true revenue that goes towards paying for our lesson horses and other expenses. So we might fill their water buckets daily. We might put a blanket on for a horse every night. We might turn out the horses. Actually, every single boarder pays to have their horse turned out in the, turnout pens every single day. All of our horses have a box stall. They also all go out every day for half a day because that's the number of pens we have. Otherwise, we'd leave them all day. But so they all have an experience of being social, being outdoors, and then come back into their stalls. Very important for their mental health. In addition to that, we have the lesson program. Our lesson program encompasses both mounted and unmounted lessons. So we have options for people that have mobility challenges or who cannot yet get off the wait list into mounted lessons. So we have riding lessons, English Western dressage, and then we also have, and some trail riding, an inside trail competition riding, which is when you set up small obstacles and they work with them. And then we also have horsemanship, and horsemanship is a drop-in class. Anyone can come. It's usually from 4 to 9 people. It's every Sunday at noon. Anybody at any time can drop in and take that class. It's informational, where they get to come in and learn about horses, horse medical, tacking, walking a horse. They engage with the horses. It makes people very happy. And then we have our tours. Our tours are available Wednesday through Sunday. And on the weekends, they're twice a day. There is sometimes a question of whether people can come in and wander the facility and see the horses. Another thing I want to be really clear about is that recently we added a gate for our protection and the protection of the horses, both to keep horses in and not getting out on the roads, and also to keep wandering people out. We had previously trouble with homeless individuals coming in, but our gate does not require anybody to have a special code or to have a slide-through key. They just drive up to the gate. It opens automatically. It is open from 5:30 in the morning until 10 at night. At 10 at night, when it is closed to everyone, the gate does not open anymore. You have to have a code to use the pedestrian gate. So the Equestrian Center, for the record, is open to all. Anybody may access the office at any time. You may not wander around and touch horses because the environment for boarders and the horses, when they're training, taking lessons, caring for their horses of various ages and temperaments, we do not want people wandering into their space, getting bitten by horses, feeding horses that have dietary restrictions. In the past, they made horses ill by feeding them. So we simply ask when people come in that they are under the view of staff, and that if they want a deeper tour, that they come back to our tour times. And so the last piece is our community events. We host several community events, and we also host club events throughout the year. It's a really beautiful venue. Our arena is really unmatched because it was the first amenity. It's a historical amenity. The landscaping, it's a giant round 1-acre arena. It's one of the largest arenas in Orange County. You can come, enjoy food, enjoy beverage, dance. Depending on the event, it's beautiful scenery with a view of the mountains and the city tucked away. It's really a pearl of the village. So those are the 3 elements of our business. And what we do each day, we have 9 total staff members. We have 6 full-time staff. They're split into 2 categories. I have the stable hand team, which does the facility care and the basic care of the horses for the boarding. I have instructors on the other side, and then a support person for care and maintenance of the lesson horses, and she is part-time. And then we are lucky enough this year to have a part-time rec leader in the office and doing administrative, which was really necessary because we were the only clubhouse that did not have that. So it was unpleasant for people to walk in and have to try to find the staff outside, since we're all working all day outside with horses and residents. So beyond that, what we have accomplished is much. Our facility really has one of the brightest futures of any equestrian center. We can shift the model however we want to. I know we mentioned the budget and that there's a large contribution. Well, there is. That was decided by the community at large, that we were not seeking to make money on the amenities. Certainly, if we wanted to charge market rate, as we do outside, I'm very qualified to turn it into a revenue business where we make money. But I believe that is not the goal, and that is not for me to say. But there's definitely opportunities. We're looking at fees in 2025. Of our 8 horses, well, we have 9 horses if you count Sebastian. Sebastian's sponsored and doesn't cost us anything. He's a mini horse. He's our ambassador at events. The rest of our horses are working in lessons except for one named Jerry, who has served our community for over 20 years. He has no teeth, and he's 34, and he is not long for this world, but he survives very happily and has pony pals that are residents that come and walk him and brush him and dote on him and enjoy him. And like the residents of our village, we do not throw him out when he is old. We have retired many horses that were no longer able to work in a lesson program. That is a new program that I brought in because I think ethical care of horses is important. Our horses are retired and sponsored through the Saddle Club. Some are retired and taken in by kind people, but we make sure that if our horses are done working for us, if they can, they move on to appropriate, happy retirements. And that is something I'm also proud of. In terms of the liability, I know that you asked about that, a nice lady back here. Yes, risk management renews the insurance every year. We have quite a large amount of insurance, but something you may not know is in addition to that, every boarder has to hold $1 million policy with $1 million per occurrence that names GRF as additionally insured. So you do not board on our property if you do not hold $1 million liability insurance in addition to the insurance we keep for the facility. Any trainer or clinician that comes in also carries a $3 million policy with $1 million per occurrence. So we are very well covered. We have a very good safety record. Previous to my coming in, it's my understanding we were not as careful, and we did a lot of things with trail riding with beginners and things that were not safe because of my background teaching children, disabled, adult, amateurs. Safety is number one for me. I don't tolerate unsafe behavior on the property. So if horses are unsafe, we move them on. If people are unsafe with their horses, we address that within the community standards of how to address that. So, and then within the lesson program, our safety standards are very high. So you will look at our record and see that we have a very good record. I heard once somebody mentioned the traffic being an issue for safety. We also utilize earplugs for any horses that are spooky. So the horses are able to have little foam balls put in their ears if they are sound sensitive. So we do not have a lot of issues with sound on the property. Let's see, what else did they mention? The $395 per manor per month, I apologize if that was confusing to anybody, but I think it's important to note that of the large HOAs, equestrian is not a very large piece of that. The horses cost, I was asked about that. We buy extremely trained and qualified horses with very good temperaments. I do not believe in buying lesson horses who are already very lame and will not be able to be used for very long, or that are going lame in lessons. I do not believe in untrained horses being brought into lesson programs because that's very unsafe. Our horses vary in price from donated for nothing to $10,000. Our budget for the year, when we need them, is $10,000 total. Horses cost, typically, a good horse costs between $7,500 and $10,000. The horse that we bought recently, that was the question, was originally a six-figure horse and was showing in the medal classes in all over the country, actually in the hunters, which is a type of jumping. That horse is sound, past vet check, doing lessons, and no longer jumps. We got him through having a good reputation with good connections. So when he was no longer jumping, we were able to get him for our program. He's large enough that we can now allow full-grown men who weigh more to ride in the lesson program, which was a challenge before because the horses have weight limits. So all of our horses are purchased with knowledge of what we need them to do. They're trained, they're schooled, they're pulled out if they have behavioral difficulties, reschooled, and put back in when they're ready. It's very precise what we do. And we're very careful, and we're lucky enough to have very knowledgeable staff. You have an excellent equestrian center. I'm really proud to be part of it. Are there any questions?
Yeah, well, the one thing that I wanted to mention, and I hope you mention it, that you have a big volunteer group down there too.
We do.
That muck stalls.
No, they actually muck buckets. So that we have a large volunteer group. The volunteer group is separated into levels of knowledge of horses. So we have a large group that comes in mornings or evenings, does buckets. They do light mucking in the evening, but not major mucking because we wouldn't ask the cedars to do the stalls. And then they do various care for the horses, cleaning feed pans. If they understand horses and have passed a test, they can hand walk horses back into their stalls at night with supervision. We have a group called the Pony Pals who have gone through our horsemanship program and are experienced horse people. They get to be the emotional support person for a lesson horse. So the lesson horses are assigned a Pony Pal. Those people come in, brush the horses, walk the horses, bathe the horses, spend time with the horses, which is beneficial to the people and to the horses.
Yeah, well.
It's fun.
Does
stuff.
anybody have any questions? Pardon? Oh.
It sure is.
Oh. Are you going somewhere?
I have a
Thank
question.
you.
Madam Chair?
You have,
Madam Chair?
do
I
you
have
have,
a
oh, I'm
question.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a total barn stalls, 41?
We have 40 stalls.
40 stalls, and are they double stalls or are they single stalls?
No, there's no double stalls. I'm not quite sure what you mean by double stalls, but
Okay.
they're single stalls, 40 stalls. We also sometimes have 2 living outside, so the total can be up to 42 if we have additional lesson or staff.
Okay. So the total boarded horses are, resident horses are like 28, is that right? Or
So 30. So 2 residents have 2 horses.
Okay, and they use 2 stalls, right?
They
Because
have
I thought
2
that,
The allotment per resident is up to 2 stalls.
2 stalls, okay. So that would be 10 for non-boarders, non-residents, right? If there's 30.
Those are lesson horses.
Okay.
And, and the staff horse.
So the non-resident horses, how many do we have?
3.
3 non-resident horses?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And we have 9 staff and 6 full-time, is that right?
6 of the staff are full-time and 3 are part-time, correct?
Okay. And instructors, do we pay the instructors?
Yes, of course.
How many instructors?
So there's a part-time instructor, and then I am also an instructor in addition to managing the facility. And then my number 2, who is the head instructor, Jennifer, does horse care schooling and also is an instructor.
Okay, and the care service program that you talked about, does that cost us a monthly fee, or is this just,
It costs
what
the
is it?
residents a monthly fee, and we timed the staff doing each task, and it goes above, what we charge is above the time it takes to do it, so we do not lose money on care services ever.
Okay, and veterinarian services too, do we?
That's all part of our material and supply budget with the horses.
And that is paid for by the boarder?
That's,
whoever-
well, the boarders pay for their own veterinarian farrier
Okay.
service. That has nothing to do with us. They choose their own service providers.
All right.
For our lesson horses, obviously, we have veterinary fees and shoeing.
Okay, and you say that the gates open 5:30 to 10, but you can't wander, so somebody's there to guide you around at 9 p.m.?
No, they may come and look around when staff is present. They may enter the facility and go to the office at any time. Those that have business there until 10 p.m., boarded horses, helpers of horses, may come in and handle horses until 10
Oh, but the rest of, we can't come in. I mean, I don't have a horse there, so.
That would be quite unsafe for you to come in after staff hours until 10 p.m., yeah.
Okay, so what time can I come in?
You can come in until 4:30 while staff is available, but you would have to come to the office and ask if there's staff available to walk you around, or you can be under the vision of staff where they are as long as you check in with them, and you may not touch horses.
Okay, all right. I used to go there with my granddaughters all the time.
Yeah.
But we would
pleasant.
we would walk around, but we never touched the horses, so we were responsible enough, but we rode them.
That's wonderful. I
do
wish everyone
How
was
does
that
our
way.
our rent for our stalls compare to the neighboring communities?
It's definitely lower than the neighboring communities, and the lesson fees are less than half.
Okay, so how much is a rent a stall over in Laguna Niguel or wherever?
Well, there's such a variety. We would have to pull a report, but I would definitely tell you it's
What would be your
quite a
guess?
bit more. I would say it's a third more to, if it was a full-service facility that included much of care services within it, it could be quite a bit more. So it just really depends on how you structure the boarding. The way we do it is that we allow the residents to customize, so you can have boarding that is the basic care, which is our basic package, and then you customize it with care services. So they might be paying $180 in care services to have more of a full care boarding experience, but they might not if it's somebody on a fixed income, and they might be paying just the base board and doing the rest of it themselves because they're retired, if you can see what I mean. So
Okay.
really a deep analysis is due.
Do we have any past due rent on any stalls that?
I do not keep
I
those
have just
records.
a couple of questions, okay?
A couple?
Yeah.
So,
a
you
couple
can
more.
ask finance.
She went
They
over
have
it
all those
before.
records.
Finance has all those records.
Yeah, because they bill, so I prepare the information and they bill it out and keep track of payment.
Okay. One more question. You say you're sponsored by the Saddle Club. What is the Saddle Club?
So I'm not sponsored by the Saddle Club, but the Saddle Club participates in fundraising for the Equestrian Center.
Okay.
I don't know their numbers. I believe they're close to 100 residents, but you would have to check with them. They often, if we have a campaign going, will raise funds and donate to the campaign through the club. They've also done concerts and things of that nature for us.
I'm done.
Well, God bless America.
I just have a quick
I
question.
mean, this is all stuff she talked about before.
And it's
Pete-
probably for staff. What is the premium that we pay for the liability insurance that we provide, that GRF provides? Do you know?
Dan Yost would have to give you
We'd have to get those numbers. I don't have them.
You're both talking at the same time.
I don't have those numbers offhand, but we can try and locate those from our risk manager.
Do you know whether it's paid for by GRF or whether it's attributed to the expenses?
I don't have that information. Sorry.
GRF.
GRF pays for it?
Yeah, we
that's
have
so-
a liability policy that we
Yeah,
carry
every
with us.
equestrian center generally has business liability.
That's right.
Is it part of the calculation of the expense of running the equestrian center? So when I look at the income and the expenses, it's listed as an expense? Because I couldn't find
I
it.
wouldn't say that it was listed as an expense.
to the
But I
equestrian.
think that all of our the equestrian center, if I remember right, is rolled in with other liability insurances.
It is not. Thank you.
It is not. How do you know that?
Just look in the green book.
It should be very easy to get those
Yeah,
numbers from risk management.
It isn't that much money compared. Well, I know, I've talked about it a dozen times. Okay.
I just
Are
have
there
a
any
sip-
more questions?
I just
for-
have one. I just have
Oh,
one.
dear.
You said something very interesting that piqued my interest is that this facility can be a money-making facility. I don't want a business plan. I want to say, what is the single most important thing that need to be changed in order to make it a business that makes money? That's all.
In my professional opinion, in my experience, the way equestrian centers on the outside run, you recoup your costs on boarding, you make money on lessons. That's just the formula. Yeah.
So what we charging right now compared to the outside is way low?
Our group lesson rate is $15. On the outside, I would say the group lesson rates typically are 75 to 100.
Okay, so we are not charging enough.
No,
Okay.
we did raise fees once so far since I came on board, just so everybody knows. But, you know, we always are working within the community and what the community
Yeah,
wants.
I think you answered my question. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Laura.
you.
One moment.
I have one
Yeah, Director
question.
Quam has her hand up.
Oh, great.
Yes, yes. And first off, I really want to thank you for an excellent presentation.
Thank
There were
you.
many, many questions, and you did a very good job in trying to answer them. There was a question that was put to our board as to whether or not there's a waiting list to get in, and should there be members who are waiting, do they have priority over someone who is on the outside?
Yes, actually, we always have a waiting list. We're quite popular, especially since we raised the level of instruction to what you're getting outside. We're very popular. So much like golf, we always have a waiting list. We have been able to bring it down from over 200 to always sitting a little bit over 100. But that number includes people that have already got onto the list or off the list, taken lessons in a 6-session pack, and then gone back onto the list. So to pull a true number of people waiting that have not yet received lessons, I would have to prepare that for you separately and provide it. I will tell you that we are making grandchildren and others who are sponsored wait so that residents can get in first at this point. The reason we had talked about that outside group coming in and paying to do additional lessons for us for grandchildren is exactly for that reason, so that we can both accommodate people's very excited emotions about getting their grandchildren in with horses, but also that our staff is providing service to the residents themselves and making sure we get through the waiting list.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chair Horton. We do have 2 more supervisors here. We've told them they have 30 seconds. The point is for them to come up, introduce themselves, so you have a face with the name of what facilities they are running. You're making decisions on their facilities, and we just want you to know who they are, what they're doing, but we're going to limit the questions so we can move on.
All right, thank you. The next speaker would be Ted Ball. He's a recreation supervisor for Clubhouse 2 and 7. Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Ted Ball. Thank you and have a great day. I have worked here for over 40 years. I've been working in the community. I started out as a rec leader over at Clubhouse 2. I was the assistant at 2, then Clubhouse 1. I was the supervisor at 2, and then I moved over to Clubhouse 5 and 6 and supervised that facility for about 16 years. I moved over to Club 1. I supervised there for 2 years after COVID, and now I'm all the way back over to Clubhouse 2 again and Clubhouse 7. I also manage bar services. I really have a unique job and I in a unique community, and I really enjoy what I do. Some events that we do put on here, we have the art affair, we have outdoor concerts, the July 4th concert, which is a community event. We have summer splash days, the Kentucky Derby viewing party, we have a Veterans Day event, and Thanksgiving dinner, among a few. I was looking at what we do on a daily basis. I'll wrap it up real quick. I was looking at today at Clubhouse 2 alone, we have 14 reservations. So we have staff taking care of all those rooms. Each reservation has a diagram, and the staff sets it up accordingly. And that's it. I don't want to take any more of your time here. It's been a while, so have a great day. Any questions?
You didn't mention how many people are at the yoga classes.
It depends. We'll break that all down for you.
Yeah. Well, I know there was 81 at the.
There you
go. On Monday.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to know what's the single most important issues in your activities that keeps you busy and is difficult to resolve?
Well, it's really the daily operations. I mean, things change. You know, you expect your day's going to go one way, and all of a sudden something happens with maintenance or event comes in and they change their diagrams or they want something different. That's just the challenge.
So nothing on the operational side that keeps you?
No, we're okay. We've got 10 staff members, manage both facilities. I have a great crew, great team, and a great team in recreation.
So things are smooth?
Yeah.
That's what I came.
Any others? Yes? Oh, my gosh, question.
Oh, gosh, go ahead.
I don't have a question for you, Ted.
Yeah.
But I have a comment.
Yes.
I've been member of many clubs and managed one or two. And I must tell you, Allison, that if you have a problem and if Ted is there, your problem gets resolved. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I heard in the past that you were shorthanded. Is there, do you have enough staff working?
Right now, we do have enough staff. We actually absorbed some of the Clubhouse 1 staff, too, so we have 2 additional staff members. So, yeah, we're doing really good right now.
Okay, so then Clubhouse 1 will be short-staffed?
Some of those will go back.
When it opens?
Yeah, when it goes back, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
We can't really hire anybody right now, and we're overstaffed. So. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and Peter Kwam, did you want to come up and say a few words? Everybody recognizes you.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Peter.
I'm Peter Kwan. I've been here 22 years. My experience is I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology with an emphasis in fitness and a minor in gerontology. I manage 2 of the fitness centers here in the village, of a staff of 15 on hand. 6 of them are personal trainers, and 9 of them are our front desk resident assistants. We average about 357 users since the closure of Clubhouse 1. We provide personal training still. We do that at the Clubhouse 7 Old Pro Shop to alleviate from personal trainers taking space on the floor when we're busy. Our special events that we run is the Village Games, which has been very popular. I oversee the Clubhouse 5 Fitness Center equipment. I manage the after-hours community center front desk. I oversee table tennis room, outdoor pickleball, mini gym, and archery range. I also oversee the tennis center, which we just lost an employee of about 7 years. Lori Pascal decided to move on, so we are trying to find a replacement for her. We've done over 5,000 barcodes for our residents here that use the fitness facility. And we have a plan for our cardio replacement that will begin this year with about 14 pieces for Clubhouse 1. And that's what I do.
That's what you do. Does anybody have any questions for Peter?
I just have a comment. Where do you keep the remote control for TV?
On that note, I am going back to my chair.
That was, thank you. No TVs in Clubhouse 1.
Over the remote control is.
No.
If you need TV in a fitness center, then you don't need to go to the fitness center.
There you go. Okay? And that concludes,
Sue has something to say.
oh, okay. Who had something to say?
Sue.
Director Quam?
I just wanted to
Oh,
ask.
okay.
Peter-
I'm sorry.
Yes, I'd like to ask Peter a question about Clubhouse One. And if he's available.
I'm here.
I just, Peter, do you feel that we're adequately funded for Clubhouse One? I use Clubhouse One quite a bit, and as do a number of residents, and it's on the United side. And when I see it compared to the other clubhouses, it doesn't look nearly as nice. I don't think the equipment is as new. Am I missing something there?
That's why we're renovating it.
Yeah, it's going to be renovated, and we're getting 14 new cardio pieces. So we're on a wave to replace all the cardio equipment there at Clubhouse One, but it's going to be a process. There's over 50 pieces of cardio equipment that we have to replace, so it's going to take some time.
Okay. I also wondered about the circuit training class. As I mentioned before, it kind of looks like Jack LaLanne equipment. And I know you've got one piece of equipment that's coming in, but is that looked at? Do you feel like it's, well, I know you can't say anything because it has to go through management, but I just have noticed that it just doesn't seem to really reflect any upgrades over the 7 years that I've been here.
Well, if you're talking about strength equipment
Yes.
lasts for over 20 years, and there's not really much change in designs for strength equipment. It's just more aesthetics wise. If you're talking about maybe the aesthetics, then yes, they are pretty chipped up and beat up because they've been there for over 15 years at the youngest, I believe. The oldest pieces are over 20 years old.
Yes, and I've noticed that some of the mats and things are not that well, that the seats and the cushions are sometimes, ripped, not really, really worn. How often are they replaced?
I try to replace those as often as I see them, but it does take some time for them to be made. They're not where I can just buy them from a store and they're delivered the next day. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks for them to make a custom replacement. And plus our equipment is older, so it's harder to find those pieces each and every time. Each year it gets harder and harder.
Well, if we could, as a committee, help you, not in 2025, that's pretty much done, but I would hope that we would look at those things in 2026.
That'd be awesome.
So,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that concludes the presentations. The next item on the agenda is the Recreation Committee request forms, and each one of us have a couple. Yeah. And so, I mean, I can read what these people are requesting, but there's no names on them. Is there a reason for that?
Just to keep the information private. The
Oh.
idea is if you want to read this and if you want it to go on a future agenda, it's for the committee to make that decision here.
Well-
Instead of us putting all the work into it and then the committee comes back and says, why did you bring this to us?
Yeah.
This was based on committee feedback from a previous meeting where it was suggested that before we put the time and effort into it, that you as a committee decide if it should be on the agenda. So if you want to give a brief synopsis of it, we can decide from there.
One is about the TVs. Gee, I'm sure somebody wants me to come home. If we're going to put one on, the one that on future agenda items that you might want to put on is this TV business. Yeah. I don't know how many times, because,
Yeah. If you'd like me to give a brief,
absolutely, but we took the TVs out of the Clubhouse 1 2 or 3 times.
Chair Horton?
Yes.
If you'd like me to give just a brief description of each, and you can decide, and we can
Well,
give
yeah,
a
well,
little
we can read.
background on why the request is coming forward. I believe we
Yeah,
do have a
because-
speaker regarding the TVs as well that
Okay,
waited for this.
you can give an explanation, but I know.
Did anyone not read it?
I did, I read it.
We don't need
Okay.
Okay, but maybe on future agenda items. The other one,
So, again, for clarity, we need to know, we received these forms, and we need to know from the committee if we want it to be a future agenda item. Not to be
All right.
considered, you have to make a
Oh.
decision if you want it to be on the future agenda for discussion.
okay,
I think the request want us to rate the programs on TV. Pretty much that was asking. Rate which one is good, which one is bad. I don't think the committee can make those kind of determination which program is good,
well,
which
we've
program
got
is bad.
you know, we have employees to make those decisions. I don't.
On the TV program, they're rated. They're PG program. I mean, what we gonna do?
I have no idea. All right,
Don't have TVs in the.
well, that was my suggestion, but somebody had a raging fit about it. Anyway, I guess, do we want to use these forms and get them put, on the agendas? That's what you're asking me. Yeah, to use these forms for requests.
The forms are,
Oh,
Hasn't that been done in the past? I've seen that come across that way, where you'll get one of these forms and it'll have a package with it, and it's an agenda item. Do we not do that?
so last
or-
time we did that, there was feedback from the committee that we were putting things on the agenda that maybe shouldn't have been on the
Oh, okay.
agenda
All right.
because we were
I
putting a
missed
lot
that
of,
point. All
lot
right.
of time into them. So the point of bringing the forms, it was suggested we bring these forms to the committee
To see
so
if
the
you want-
committee can decide if they want to pursue it further. If you don't think it needs to be pursued further, then you can let us know that and we will not bring it forward.
This
Oh,
is
okay.
This is what I
I
suggest. There are
don't think
two
we
of them.
should bring these forward.
No, there are two of them. One of them is about TV, the other one is about donation. I think the donation should go on a schedule because,
I
you
don't
know,
think so.
But the reason for that is that they're gonna donate free cups, but there is a
No.
logo on it. If we know what the logo is.
I do.
You know, I don't. That's what I'm asking to say.
Okay.
You know,
Did you
if the
want me to-
committee wanna know that the logo is acceptable or not, that's one thing. If we know what it is and you don't wanna do it, then that's fine.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I see,
Well,
what?
this is ties in the whole thing.
What?
Okay, as far as the contribution goes, that'll all be taken care of, all that information, because we have to go over the contribution part anyway, right? We have to approve that anyway. Well, that'll be all in the report and everything.
Yeah, but
So
I
why are we even addressing it here? I mean,
I think that.
To accept a donation, we have to bring it forward to the
Right.
committee and GRF approval. So
Right.
if there is disagreement amongst the committee that we should or shouldn't be doing this, it should probably go on the agenda for more information, if that makes it, if that simplifies
well,
it.
wait, who's disagreeing that we have to bring it through? Are you,
I'm not disagreeing. I said there are two of these. One of them is about TV, the other one
Right.
is about donation.
Right.
Donation should be on the, on the agenda.
That has to
because
be.
it need to be considered.
Right.
The other one is TV. You already made a decision. I wasn't here. You already made a decision. If you want to reconsider it, that's up to, the committee. I don't know. But
can we-
the donation should go on.
well, it sounds like you were proposing something different when you said it the first time. So I agree with you 100%, Reza.
Thank you.
So if we could maybe take it one item at a time, we have the
All right,
television.
let's take,
Television item, and again, we do have a speaker here on behalf of that. So
oh, goody.
instead of mixing the two and deciding one or the other, let's talk about the one first and get it done, and then we'll move
Okay,
on to the next
who
item.
wants to talk about this TV?
Ed
business?
Frazier?
Oh, come on down, Mr. Fraser.
Okay, you all have the written form in your hands.
I do.
So there's no need for me to recite it.
No,
I guess I should just answer questions at this time. I don't
no,
have.
we don't answer questions. You give me a sales pitch on why I should change this. When I,
Oh, well, okay. Basically, you folks were trying to solve a problem, and you had a solution. The solution simply is not really working. There has been negative response, quite a bit of negative response. And I'm proposing that we take another look at it with a different approach, and we can resolve some of those negative responses. We can include a wider variety of input in an informal group, and that can come up with a better solution in a number of ways. Number one, we can choose the individual channels that satisfy a maximum number of people, and I'm sure we can improve on the current set. Some of the channels of the previous time were sort of the baby was thrown out with the bathwater, so to speak. There were good channels, popular channels, and no one complained, and they're gone. Likewise, some of the newer channels, in reality, are not what they appear to be. Those channels with very natural, innocuous-sounding names have the content has evolved far away from the names. I can go into some specifics if you like, but I think the channel selection can be worked out in an informal group, and the result will be fewer negative comments and fewer troubles to the staff. Likewise, I think the details of the protests and the difficulties, I think, can be looked at a little bit more carefully and come up with some policies or some management decisions to help the staff handle these things. For example, I have been a user there 3 times a week for years, and I've not seen a single argument, and yet I hear about there's arguments. I would like to go and look in some of the details. I believe that some of the experiences from the Clubhouse One drop-in lounge, where there was real altercations, some of those experiences have been generalized towards the other clubhouse and allowed to bleed into the consideration for the fitness room there, and that might not have been very appropriate. So I think progress can be done with an informal group to take a fresh look at this, both as far as how to respond to the protests that do come up. Most of them are very polite, very calm, and are easily handled by the staff. I bet a few of those are so bad that they should be handled with some sort of disciplinary action, actually, and not just run away and change the TV channels.
Thank you,
Well,
thank you, Mr. Frazier. The time has expired.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. That is our only speaker regarding Fitness TV.
well, we know that there's arguments that go on in the gym because staff complains. And those arguments take up staff time. I don't know how else to put it. It's the election time, and that's a hot topic. And we certainly don't need more arguments at the gym. There's enough every place else. That's my opinion. Does anybody else have any more comments? Yes, sir?
Do you go to the gym to watch TV? Is that the reason for going to the gym?
Yeah.
Because I don't understand this. If I go to the gym, I go to work out. I don't go to watch TV. I've got a TV in my house that I can sit and watch 24 hours a day. So I don't understand why this is such a huge item that there has to be TVs in any workout room. Why? Listen to music, listen to whatever. You don't need to be watching TV. That's just my personal opinion. Take the TVs out. Thank you.
Thank you.
First question?
No, it's not a question.
That isn't a question, that's a statement. He's just making a statement.
It started as a question.
I have a right to speak. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making
That's right.
Pardon me? I think the TV should be out. There's no reason to have them. They're there to work out, not to watch TV.
All right. Thank you.
Answer?
No, in between comedy, everybody needs a laugh.
Oh, what? Okay. Let's go. So I'm not,
So
I'm
at
not
this time,
inclined
we
to
can
bring this
do
forward.
we can do a staff direction on how you would like to proceed with this, whether we are to not take it or to take it, or we can make a motion. It's up to you guys.
Let's vote. What do you feel comfortable with?
Do we need to do this now?
Yes?
You can do staff direction if you're.
Yeah, we need staff direction, and I don't think that we need to bring this forward.
I agree.
Okay?
Everybody
Agree.
agrees.
We all agree that we don't need to take that one forward.
Don't waste any more time.
Okay, on the donation policy, I mean, this does reach the donation policy. You're gonna have to bring that forward. Okay? We're moving on. Item 13 on the discontinuance of
Madam
our
Chair,
plates.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, on that last thing, on the donation thing,
Yeah?
so I would like to clarify it, but of course, I'm just an advisor.
Oh, okay, I thought that there was one. It's a
Well,
donation.
I mean, no, I saw it, but I don't think that you guys even have to bring, they don't even have to ask us, right? Because the donations have to be approved. So wouldn't you just put it automatically on the
agenda?
On the agenda?
Yes.
And, because that way, it moves it along faster, right?
So we're putting it on the July CAC agenda.
Right, but what it could have been on this month's agenda, if we'd have just put it there, we could have been discussing.
Correct,
it.
but there is a staff report and research that's due with that. So that's why we are bringing the request, and you can conceivably
trying to
make a simple
cut
decision whether to put it on the next agenda for.
But it has to be on the agenda.
No, because if you decide you don't want to discuss it, it would kill it at that discussion level for the report.
So Elsie, I get, you're thinking because it's donation, it automatically has to
Right.
go. What we're saying is it doesn't. It's if you decide you want it to go. For example, when you've had
But
people
yeah, but I've been on
want
this-
to donate horseshoes again or pianos, and you, at that time, the committee said to staff, we should not have done a staff report. So that's why we're bringing it to you now. So if you want this to go forward, we will do a staff report for it. We don't have to do a staff report.
Because
if we
I've been
choose
on this committee a really long time, and I don't remember this being a two-step process on money, because this is money, isn't it?
This is a new change that came about from a previous CAC meeting.
Recently.
The point is have a simple discussion.
That's what the
and
staff's
move it
saying.
forward.
Okay, well,
made
it
the
just seems
change,
like
so-
adding process to process to process to me, but I'm just an advisor. And I wasn't around for that new instigation of the two-step. I don't know where I was that week.
Director Quam does have her hand up whenever you're ready,
Okay,
Director Quam.
Again, okay.
Yes, I want to thank Allison for responding to our request last time, which was, yes, you absolutely should not waste your time on things that are pretty obvious. So you're just trying to come back and say what should be on the agenda, what is not. This doesn't need to be a big discussion, up or down, yes, no. You explain it, and then we say yes, no, and that's done. I don't understand the hesitancy by the group, but I think you're just doing what we asked you to do. So thank you.
Okay. So we all agreed.
Yes, it will be on the next agenda.
Okay.
And I will blow through this next one pretty quickly. Thank you to everyone in the audience for your patience. We're bringing this forward. We're constantly, as staff, looking for ways to improve efficiencies and cut costs. One of those inefficiencies that we are currently dealing with and we want to eliminate in 2025 is the dish and flatware availability to our rentals. This service creates additional and unnecessary staff time dedicated to replacement, maintenance, and monitoring, as well as the monetary cost of replacing items that are damaged or stolen. We are not aware of any other HOA or public-private facility that provides this service for free. Most catered events are expected to provide their own dish service or disposable goods at their cost. Some of the items that have been provided include dinner, bread, salad, and dessert plates, forks, knives, and spoons, coffee cups and saucers, water glasses, salt and pepper shakers, wine carafes. We will continue to provide water dispensers, water pitchers, and coffee servers, as well as the kitchen appliances. We do not currently supply creamer, sugar, dessert cups, serving trays, cutting boards, centerpieces, or linens. Some of the issues that we have experienced, we have limited storage at our clubhouses. A lot of the dishes are cracked or chipped, which look bad and can be dangerous for delicate skin. Missing or stolen items, especially those forks and spoons. Staff needs to monitor and replace them often. Items often need to be transferred between facilities. Dishes are left dirty for the next group, generating complaints. Dishes often need to be washed before and after an event. GRF is currently incurring the cost for the soap for the dishwashers, which does add up, believe it or not, as well as the water and utilities. And we have a lot of mismatched dishes due to constant replacement. I'd say overall the cost annually is not that much to replace the items, probably about $5,000, but that does add up over time, and that is money that is coming out of our materials and supplies, which do continue to increase just based off of everyday life. The dishes would be consolidated to Clubhouse 2 and 5 and be used for GRF rec coordinated events such as the volunteer lunch and 90s lunch, and available for board lunches if necessary. In the future, we will soon be notifying lottery reservations for 2025, and this would be an ideal time to let them know that this would no longer be available in 2025. We would still allow the service to continue for 2024. And we also will have rental resources available so users can coordinate their own private rentals for events. As with any change, discontinuing these items may generate some complaints, will likely generate some complaints, especially from those who have utilized the service. It may create more of a financial burden for some of those groups that have been able to offer their parties and use our supplies. We wanted to bring it to your attention to give you the opportunity to respond or direct us in another direction, but that is what we are planning for 2025.
Me first. It seems as though if it isn't nailed down, it'll get legs and walk out of here. I just don't think that we should be furnishing dishes for everybody.
Okay, you done?
You go ahead.
Go.
Okay.
Okay. Don't we pay as clubs to use the dishes? I mean, I thought it's like a $2 a plate. What's that, $2 plate fee?
The $2 per person served is a fee for the caterer. So if a caterer is hired and they're using the GRF facility to produce and serve your event, they are paying $2 to GRF for the water, utilities, and everything that they're using inside the kitchen.
And the plates?
They have access to the plates, yes.
Yeah,
So-
and so isn't there an inventory done at the end where the plates are inventoried and what's missing, what's not?
We have generally one rec leader working in the clubhouse, and to allow time for him to count all of the inventory of dishes, we'd have to hire on more staff for that.
So that's
I-
part.
I oppose this. I don't think that we want to be eating off of paper plates.
Okay.
Okay. This is a great service. The negative part is that we charge very little for it. I think if we were to increase the fee and keep the supplies in a locked room, it will be better, it would be used better and people will care for it. When you charge them more, they will take care of it. I think we are giving it away for free at $25 and $50 per event. So I personally feel it will be a missed feature because we use it quite often. And it's good to have. I don't think we can get all these supplies and be able to supplement this in any other way. So it will be greatly missed.
So you were suggesting increasing fees for use of those items?
Sure. I'm sure people will be willing to pay for it and even charge them for the use of the dishwasher or whatever. Or even have them hire a dishwasher if the party is over 100 or 200 people. So I think it is a great feature that we have, that you can use the kitchen and the dishes and the thing. the whole setup is really excellent. Before we discontinue it, we need to have a deep dive into seeing what we are doing and what we're going to take away from the people.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
This is Sue Quam. I have my hand up. I agree with Kush and Ellen. I think this is something that the residents really like. And if it needs to have a fee increase, it needs to have a fee increase. You know, it would be like the dinners, like Father's Day, Mother's Day. Would they have to bring in outside plates? I think this might get more complicated than what we assume.
Well, caterers usually bring
Yeah,
in their own dishes.
you know, if there is a formal function and the caterer comes in, if there's a formal function that you bring caterers, they usually bring their own equipment and their own dishes and everything. If it's informal, these days, those disposable plates are nice enough that is better than the one that we have. Most of them are scratched, most of them are not really good, cracked. I mean, we are taking the inventory of things that are disposable, and we're gonna, get the cost, and we put people to make inventory, to review before, after. It's gonna cost us a lot of money. I mean, those disposable dishes out there are very nice, even for the formal setting. Let's just, get rid of these disposable, breakable items on our list.
Reza, we are trying to cut down on the effect on our landfill. When you use disposable,
I think that's, at this time, we're more concerned about what's going on here than landfill out there.
you see the ones that you are
Some of us aren't.
recyclable are there are dishes that can be sent to the landfill. Yeah,
All right.
but I think what we have, we should use.
But what about replacing as they get broken and get legs and
But
walk out? Are we supposed
They
to?
don't walk out. She just said we only spend $5,000 a year.
But
on
we're also
replacing.
not including staff time and efficiency in that. Those are big things to consider. You're now going to have staff that are going to be doing, it's going to increase the time that staff are at the clubhouse because they're going to have to take account of all the dishes. There are efficiencies that come along with that as well. So I just want to bring those to your attention as well.
Yeah.
Right now, some of them are, we have one person responsible sometimes for setting up tables for 300 plus people, so.
What?
No. Yes, Elsie.
Well, first of all, Mr. Karimi, some of us are more concerned with the landfill than they are with a bar mitzvah or whatever, okay? But that's neither here nor there. We could, all this stuff that with extra costs and stuff, couldn't we charge an extra 50 cents a head? Can't we minimize that and do it right and still recoup our loss?
Yeah, it would go through the committee and board approval process, so it would be a future agenda item to,
Right,
for a fee increase, yes.
for a fee increase. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a possibility,
We would have to
right?
establish fees, so it would actually have to go through the finance committee, community activities
No,
committee,
yeah, I
and
know the process, but I
GRF.
mean, but that's what we do, right? Isn't that what we do, is propose fee increases, discuss it, pass them or don't pass them? I don't know. I mean, the point is, we could recoup those losses without going to paper plates, right?
I would
I
hate
don't
to
know.
use the paper plates.
Yeah. Elsie, most of those plates, paper plates, are recyclable. So it's better than having the china broken and put it in the landfill. I'm just answering your question about being green.
No, you cannot recycle soiled paper goods. They're not recycled. No, because they're soiled once they're used.
They are
And so they have
compostable.
to be-
They use it in incineration to generate electricity.
I'm losing
So-
control.
You're
Here-
making
Here we
that
go.
up.
Call for
Sue.
the question?
Yeah, you ask your question, Sue.
No, I'm calling for the question. It's a point of order.
Oh,
Point
point
of
of order. Oh, okay.
We do have one speaker when we're ready.
Okay. Yippee.
Joan Milliman.
Oh, Joan, you don't have to get up.
I can just yell and scream from the audience?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, two things. I definitely agree with Kush, but what are you going to do with the excess flatware, et cetera? How are you going to get rid of it? It can't all go to Clubhouse 2 and the two that you mentioned. So that's one problem. And I agree, I don't think most of us are going to want to eat off of paper plates. Even the hard plastic paper plates would have to find some place to go. They have to be gotten rid of. And not all caterers bring all their stuff. Go ahead, what were you going to say? Yvonne?
Yeah, but if the caterers furnish that stuff, I would think that they would bring enough for everybody.
But then the price of your catering
Well,
goes up.
We're going to charge.
I'm thinking about the clubs that maybe have potlucks, the clubs that bring their own food as opposed to a caterer.
Mm-hmm.
And the clubs use that flatware and so on. They're the ones that use it more. The caterer will, as you say, probably bring their own. But maybe the clubs aren't doing that anymore.
Most of the clubs cater.
Most of the clubs are catering now.
I think we determined it's probably 2 to 5 times a month that we're.
Well, we ran reports of the fees that were collected, and I thought it was 4 to 5 times a month. 4 to 5 times a month the dishes are being used.
Also, what about if you charge an extra fee, couldn't that bring in a cleanup crew?
Well, we can.
Why not charge for the cleanup, i.e. people that we could hire for those fees? I don't know. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Or whatever.
Thank you.
Helen, you want to say something?
I want to vote. Let's vote.
Let's vote.
No, it's not a vote.
Let's vote. Do we
It's
want
not a
an
vote.
extra fee? Do we want to?
Well, wait a minute.
There-
Wait, let's.
If I may interject, there's no motion on the floor.
No,
Again,
there is
this
no
can be-
motion, but
There's no voting
I
right
am
now.
going to.
This
what
can
I
be a
wanna
staff
do
direction.
Is I want to direct staff to make a staff report and come back with how much the cost would be and how much. Can you do that?
To cost for.
Increase.
Increase to cover
So
the
proposed
breakage
fee
and stuff like
increases to
that.
cover.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then that would have to go to finance, of course.
correct.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago, we changed all the rental fees for the rooms. So we're not going to do that again.
Yeah, this would be a separate, this would be
We're going to up some other
The
fees
kitchen
this
fee.
year.
This would be to develop additional fees to the rental fees. These dishes are not necessarily included in those.
One more.
There are two separate fees that pertain to the dishes. So one is if you are a caterer, so let's say you hire a caterer for your event, the $2 fee comes into play per person served. If you are a club and you guys are doing a potluck and you're not hiring a caterer, but you want to use the dishes, then you pay the kitchen fee, which is either $25 or $50 according to the size of
Correct.
the kitchen.
So work on the $25 and $50 fee.
So that fee includes all of the appliances, so
Correct.
the gas, the water, the dishwasher,
Correct.
stove, oven, all of those things.
Yes.
So
You
the-
can even impose a little thing that if you are going to have 100 people or 200 people or 300 people, so the fee will get stepped up.
So the direction
Think-
is to develop or increase an existing fee for the use of the dish service.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
It would be
asking.
terrible to not have the dishes.
All right, we've got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we move on?
Of course.
You've been directed. And the next item is the use of the tennis court by the Cavalry Church High School girls tennis team.
And yes, just wanted to provide some information that we received. We asked some questions of the risk manager and the GM's office and our legal regarding having this. And as you may recall, if you don't remember, we had the Calvary Chapel High School tennis team inquired about using our tennis courts. I believe it was 6 out of our 10 tennis courts, 5 days a week from 2:30 to 5:30. The team was displaced from their normal location, and they offered to compensate to use the courts at $2,600 a month. We presented the request to risk management and the GM's office. Risk management wasn't concerned, and insurance would likely cover any activity. Where we get into a little bit of a snag is the GM's office provided a legal response that wasn't favorable for the activity due to concerns about this triggering the need for ADA compliance and improvements once you open up a private facility for outside use. There was some concern there. The general public's occasional use of an exempt commercial or private facility is insufficient to convert that facility into a public accommodation under the ADA. GRF does not advertise the use of facilities to the public, and GRF is a private entity whose facilities are only open to residents and their guests. For these reasons, that's why the proposal is they do not favor doing this because this would be considered more of a long-term rental of the facility by outsiders. We have also received some opposition from some of the tennis users and club members. Some of them very adamant disapproval because this would be taking away playing time from those participants. And I believe we do have some people here to speak on behalf of that as well.
Okay. Did you want to speak now?
Bud Davis.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. I was here last meeting. In response to what they've asked for, they have liability insurance. And I see so many different events here where there are outside people that come in and pay nothing, and there's no talk about liability insurance for pickleball or things of that nature. There's golf teams on this course. They just had a national tennis tournament here that took the courts for the entire day for an entire week. And we're just asking for a time that's non-prime time, and it's in the heated hours of the day, which nobody will be on these courts. So I don't understand the negativity. So there's been 27 years of this program, and over 1,000 girls, young ladies, have participated, and it would be a tragedy if you don't let them have a place to play. Thank you.
Wow.
Any questions?
Yeah. No, I have a question. I understand this is a great community service if we are able or can do it. The question is, are they going to cover all of their liabilities and insurance and everything?
They already have it.
Indemnification?
They've had it, because wherever they went.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
When they went down to Costa Mesa Tennis Center, they had to get the $1 million bond and insurances. They're all covered. And this has been brought up before.
No, what now I'm going to ask is, did GM consider that before they say no or they weren't in favor?
Well, it has to be.
No, but they did make the report saying that they're not. I'm asking if the GM consider that, that they are accepting liabilities and providing insurance and all of that before they.
I don't believe that was an issue. It was more of the opening up for a long-term rental.
Oh, okay.
Triggering
That's a
ADA issues in the community.
That's a different issue. Okay,
Yeah.
It's not liability.
It's not so much the liability and insurance,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But also to address the tennis tournament and other things like that, I think those are considered more of short-term activities. I think they're looking at this at more of a long-term, inviting people into the
Just
community.
three months of the year. 3 months in the afternoon for 4 days.
Okay.
Nobody uses those courts because it's too hot. I don't understand the negativity. Not at all. We've tried every other place. You had 3 letters that I had sent here. One from the president of the high school, one from Bob Hochstetter, who's the president of the USTA in Southern Cal, and then the other one from Tim Lynn, who's been the coach for 27 years. Matter of fact, his assistant was here, but he couldn't stay long enough. I just don't understand. There's no other place where these kids can go. And they've done a tremendous, Tim Lynn and his wife Sue Lynn don't take a dime for coaching. They're just trying to help these kids.
No, Mr. Davis, we understand that. It's all, we are on your side. We want to help the community. We want to involve with the community. The question is, can we illegally? I think we need to discuss that on the legal side of it. I understand that you've done it in other place, but this is kind of a unique environment here, and we have to make sure that our members are covered, there is no issues, and if it's doable, we will do it. But if there are legal things that prevent us from doing that, we will explain that too, so.
Well,
Yeah.
I just don't understand it, because I see a lot of outside people come in here for pickleball, for tennis, other amenities that don't live in the village, that come in, whether a guest or whatever, pay no fees, and they're willing to pay $2,600. It would, I just don't understand
I
the
understand, I
negativity.
understand you just have to.
You sound like you've reached your level of frustration. Let's,
I have, thank you.
yeah,
I have a question.
okay.
Sir? Mr. Davis, you say they want to play here for 3 months.
3 months.
Yes, where do they go for the rest of the year?
They don't.
They don't play?
No, it's just, it's a marginal level of high school girls tennis, okay? But they've had it every year, it's what, they don't have the land at Calvary Chapel, it's down by Water and Fairview. So they've had to rent out every facility they've ever gone to, and they have to have the liability insurance to cover all of this. So this is how they've had to operate, it's just they got cut out by Modern Day down at Costa Mesa Tennis Center. Hank Lloyd was running the show, and he retired, and they allowed Sid Ball and his son Carson Ball to take over the facility. And they cut Calvary Chapel out, and they brought in Modern Day, probably because there was more money. But, you know, these kids they just want a place to play tennis.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
And
Okay.
has this been going on for 27 years? Is that what you said?
That's right.
Here?
No.
No.
No,
not here.
okay, okay.
They were down at Costa Mesa Tennis Center and wherever else they went before that.
I'm concerned about the ADA requirement.
You and me both?
And the distinction that we need to make is that as long as you can identify exactly who that guest is a guest of, then you're okay. But if you have guests come in, there's been some precedent set that if the guests are flooding in and they aren't a guest of a specific resident, then it does, the ADA requirement kicks in. So I don't think we have enough information. I think you're right that we've got to find the answer to that question. I think I know what the answer is going to be, but we need it from an official.
Yeah, we can take more specific information. Honestly, the 3 months, I was under the impression it was going to be longer than 3 months. When it was initially presented, it was presented as it was going to be more throughout the year in the off-season as well. So maybe 3 months is different than 10 months. I don't know. I don't make those decisions. Again, the GM deals with an attorney to come up with in the best interest of the community. So,
You just need the courts to play matches against the other high schools, that's all.
and practice.
That's it. Couple days to practice, and then they usually have Tuesday, Thursday matches. That's usually when the girls play the matches.
Excuse
That's all
me.
they need.
Are you talking about playing matches here with other schools also?
That's what they have to do.
So
That's what they're looking for.
it's practice and matches 5 days a week. I don't think there'd be any weekend play, correct? It's
weekend play.
Monday through Friday from 2:30 to 5:30.
Monday through Thursday.
Yes, Monday through Thursday.
Is it?
It's getting more complicated all the time.
They just give their legal opinion.
Pardon?
It's not them, it's people they're gonna bring in, the parents and the onlookers and all those. That's what hurts our private community.
Days of matches, you might see 10 parents. I mean, I was a coach at Saddleback Men's College.
Yeah, we've got
I was
it.
lucky if I saw 10 people.
I think,
Yeah, if we could get back to the dais here and the discussion. I know Advisor Boudreau.
And Sue does too.
Thank you.
Sue does too.
We
Yes,
do
if
this
it's,
now
if it's my
on the
turn,
golf course.
Yeah.
Pardon, is Sue talking or am I talking?
Yeah, Sue.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I was called on. Here, you go ahead.
Sue, he's directed you to go forth.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Well, I'm sorry that they're having trouble finding a place, but that frankly isn't our issue. Our issue is to provide services to our residents. And I think this has gotten far more complicated than we should take on. We have advice from the general manager, and I thought that they had issued something from legal, and had reviewed it, so I don't think that this is something that we should do.
Advisor Boudreau?
My question is that we've been doing this here at this community for a number of years. Laguna Hills golf teams, both men and women, boys and girls, use our golf courses. They use our golf course. And when their season is in play, what does that do to the ADA? Does that have any effect on that? What about emeritus? They're here, they're not residents, they're people from the outside. They use our facilities. Does that not have something to do with ADA? I'm just trying to understand why it's specifically this group who's willing to give us money. And I remember a couple of years ago, we were looking to try to get some income here. This is a little bit of income, not a whole lot, but a little bit. And I'm as passionate about this as Bud is, because they're kids. They're young people who are beginning their lives, and it would be wonderful if this community would allow them to do this. They would remember this for the rest of their lives. These kids would. Trust me. Thank you.
Advisor Addington, you had your hand up earlier. Did you have a comment?
I don't want to aggravate anybody's frustration level anymore, but and this is all good information over here, but yeah, it was kind of a long time ago. A lot of the people you see coming into events, they're coming in like on a one-night basis, or they're coming in to play pickleball. They're supposed to be sponsored by it's not, I think, and I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying don't be frustrated about that, because that's a different thing than offering our facilities for rent, for whatever else gets decided. But I mean, it's a whole different situation. It isn't, we don't contract with these people. Sure, give us some money and we'll let you come in and see a tribute band. You know, it's a completely different. I just don't want you to be frustrated about that. About the parent inconsistencies, because that's not an inconsistency, is all I'm saying. One's a regular rental for which we're taking money, and the other one is a sponsored event from residents to their friends. That's all. That was all I was going to say. Out of time.
When you check with legal, you may want to run by them these other instances that we're apparently aware of that are similar to this. And there was a recent case, ADA case, where someone invited friends to come over for a pool party, and then those friends invited other friends, and so there were people there that the person who was a resident didn't know from Adam. And apparently someone died, and then that's what kicked off the new emphasis on ADA. And it sounds like you're aware of that. But yeah, check with them overall.
Will do. Thank you. Yeah, I guess the direction I'm taking is to move forward with, because there is some information that is different than what was initially presented. Take that to the GM's office and bring up some of the other examples of what we're allowing in the community and why we can allow some and not all. Get clarification.
Okay. Next month, we have a few things that are on the, oh, wait a minute. Oh, we talked about that. There's a few things that are going to be on the future agenda items, and one future agenda item is the topic of golf fees that have come to our attention, and we're going to talk about it on the July 11th meeting.
What's that?
It doesn't bear repeating.
Did you use the G word?
July 11th. Anyway, and the reservation system is also on there, and the recreation policy review and the aqueducts. And do we have any member comments? Okay, hello.
Just on that one thing for future, though, won't we have the tennis players on the future?
No,
How
I
do we-
wouldn't think so.
The tennis player application.
Oh,
for
the tennis.
For the kids from Calvary.
Yes,
I mean,
again,
is that-
depending on the information we get, if it's a no-go, I don't think there's any reason to put it on the agenda. We could provide an update, but if there is room for consideration, then we would put that on the agenda, yes.
Perfect. I just didn't hear the chair repeat that part.
Well, I won't, because you just did.
Director Quam has her hand up.
All right, Director Quam.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were, when you said, are there any more comments? I thought we were going around as directors'
Yes,
comments.
we are.
Oh, we are? Okay. Well, I have noticed, and I'm new to this process. I've been here 15 months, and the budgeting process, I would really appreciate it if we would have a meeting prior to the budget going forward to the GRF. And this is not just in the CAC, but in all the committees that we serve on, because it's kind of a fait accompli when, and United and Third and the Towers, and have not had an opportunity to really review what's going forward. I know throughout the year, we talk about raising fees and that sort of thing, and that is no surprise. But I think it just would be good for all of the committees to meet with the members to get consensus or just vote on whether or not these are the things that we would like to go forward with or to add or subtract. So it's just a comment for the next budget process.
That's basically what I said in the beginning.
Well,
Then, and I
So-
made a motion to put it on the agenda, so can we do that?
no,
Well, can we put it on the future agenda before we finish
I can't imagine.
for a special meeting?
No. Yes?
We have discussed in our department as far as bringing capital items forward prior to the budget process so that the committee has some input on that. As far as the overall operating budget, I think there can certainly be a discussion, but it may be a little more complicated because there are so many work centers and different variances in that. But capital, for sure, we're making big ticket, we're
Sure.
putting big tickets onto budget for them. We will give you that opportunity.
But the operating, we should know what we're going to be doing in the operating side, so can we not have a meeting for that?
I'm not ordering any special meeting.
Well, then the next meeting, we should probably go over the budget.
And I will remind you, there are
Why
several.
don't you go over the budget with the finance people?
Yeah, that's what my comment was going to be when you
Okay.
pointed at me.
Pardon?
That was what my comment was going to be when you pointed at me that I could talk.
Finance.
At the last budget meeting, I asked about fees, golf fees, and RV parking fees and all that. And Steve Hormuth, is that, or Jose Campos, said that he has a schedule regarding fees. And between now and the end of the year, there's going to be meetings to discuss how much these other fees should change. They've already done the analysis of the meeting room fees, but that's all they've done. So, and I said, will you finish in time that it can all be incorporated into the next budget? And he said, yes.
Well,
So
how
we
about
need that
expenses?
schedule.
It's not.
How
yeah,
about
but
expenses?
how
That's what
this
I'm looking
fees
for.
are scheduled is not.
Fees are revenue, I'm talking about expenses.
Revenue, yes,
expenses.
that's what he's talking about, fees, revenue.
Revenue, I'm talking about expenses.
The finance committee.
You guys, will you,
Excuse me.
Same thing,
Dennis?
same thing.
The finance committee is meeting next Wednesday, and they're going to be talking about fees. It's on their agenda. So you go to that meeting, that's where we talk about.
I'm talking about expenses, not
What
revenue.
expenses? What expenses do you object to?
Well, the expenses. Let's go back through the budget that we just had. I need the expenses.
Well, I suggest you go to the finance committee.
You
and
missed
talk
the
to them.
meeting. It was all the operating departments. It lasted all day, and they went over all the operating. And so if you have more questions, I don't know, maybe go ask Steve Hormuth or something. But they're not going to go through that again.
Yeah.
No, and
No,
again,
they're
we
not.
can,
And
we can.
that's how we got cut out of the process. We went to the finance committee. It's done, when it goes to the finance committee. That's a GRF finance committee. So what I would like is for next year,
Okay.
that
Well,
when you
you
go
want to
through
say
the
something?
budget, when you go through the budget process to talk about these things at the committee meetings, not only at the CAC, but for everything.
The Finance Committee will be meeting next week. The first meeting, we go over the whole, why they have set, or what the fees are, and how they have come to that. They go to all of the pieces that make up the fees, all of the costs, et cetera. And so in order to recoup that, this is what we need to have the fee being. For instance, last year when we did the room rentals, we went down to all of the costs, all there, so that we could get a square footage cost, and then we could apply that. This next week, we're going to be doing the golf fees, the RV. There's one more. I have to go back there. And then when we look at the analysis and the staff report, go through all of that discussion, then the next meeting, we will go over whether or not there's going to be an update, whether there's going to be a different charge, if it's going to go up or down. Believe me, sometimes they go down. So all of the expenses go into figuring out what the fee is going to be. So that's what we'll be looking at for those 3 items at the Finance Committee. Traffic, that's the other one, thank you. Yeah, our traffic fees. And then there'll be another meeting, you'll see the future agenda item, is the update when we have taken all of that into consideration, and that's when we recommend if there will be any changes in the fees. So next Wednesday, Ellen.
Thank you.
I was there last time, so I know. I was looking more for what the expenses are going to be. Okay, how many people are going to be working at the PAC? How many people are going to be working here? Just the compensation, the expenses.
That was what? The meeting. That's what we did. Well, I was there. So yeah. We divided it out among equestrian. Was about a week ago.
Well, I still don't understand what you're asking for, so you want...
I'll see finance. I'll go to finance.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got it.
Thank you. Do you have any comments? None? Thank you.
No,
Kush?
No comment, thank you.
I have a question on page 3 of 5, when it says item for discussion and consideration on the handout. There was a director law made a motion to recommend a revised community activity charter. First, it was no second on that record. It says motion passed unanimously. How motion passed without the second? But anyway.
Not every motion needs a second. Not every motion needs a second. So.
None of the motion needs second?
Not every motion needs a second.
Okay, well, but since it unanimously passed, it should be either on future item or item still for discussion, but it's not. It didn't land it anywhere. So what happened to it?
If it passed, it went into effect to GRF. GRF passed it. And so then the CSC charter stands for 2024.
So
I'm not
directly goes to
understanding.
the
It's already
GRF
gone
board,
through the process.
It doesn't come back for the...
It went through CAC, then it went to GRF.
Oh,
It went to GRF this past
Okay.
month, yeah.
yeah, I didn't see that here.
Okay.
So I know that from now on, we don't have to need second for any of the motions, right?
It's not any, it's certain ones, and it depends on where it lists
Okay.
in the agenda.
I just want to point out that thank you, everybody, but this is a GRF committee, it's not a united committee, and it's not now, we all participate, but this is a GRF committee, and this is the CAC committee where we discuss various aspects of community activities and the amenities. But as far as the expenses and the income and all that kind of stuff, or if you want to divide the number of employees, whatever you want to do, that really is handled in the finance committee. That's what they do, as a finance committee. We don't give them the numbers, they look at our numbers.
Well, that's why I said I'll go to the finance committee. I'll go to the
Perfect.
finance department. I
Because
go
all,
to the
yeah, all that
committees all the time.
information's there, it's just sometimes it's a little bit, it's hard to ferret it out sometimes, but it's there.
Thank you.
Director Quam has her hand up.
Yes,
you,
I want to respond to Elsie's comment. We pay for these activities, both United, the Mutual, and the Third. And we certainly recognize the authority of the Golden Rain Foundation, and we appreciate that. But we pay for these things, and we should also have a say in how things go. So that's why we're on these committees. So just wanted to put that in. Thank you.
Is that it? You don't have anything more to say, Sue?
No, that's it. I mean,
All
I think
right,
we
we
should all be
appreciate
working
it. Thank you so
collaboratively.
much. This meeting is, thank God and Greyhounds.
I didn't know that there are instances that you don't have the second motion. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
There are?
Yeah, that's
How
right.
you know which one you do, which one you don't?
Well, because
it
we
said
voted.
No, because it said no second, but it's passed. It nobody's second motion, but it fully passed.
Talk to George.
Yeah.
She went. I don't talk to her.
So that, now she said,